Shit from the YouTubes. Okay, it's starting. If you can let me know if people can see this. It says I'm alive, 4 seconds. Okay, it's starting. Hear my own voice fine. If you can let me know if people can
Yep,
see
you're good.
this. Okay, so I hope everybody likes the picture. It is courtesy of a certain someone. I don't know if he wants me to reveal his name, so I'll just leave him anonymous for the time being. It's a fantastic picture. Really, really shows the reality of this channel. Anyway, so I'm here with Mr. John Kelly fucking Rose.
Hello.
So, well, that was underwhelming. We're going to be doing a little super show here. We're going to go through 4 or 5 topics here that are pretty large. The point of the stream, it's at a very weird time because this is the only time I had available. It's terrible for Kelly. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock for you at the time in the morning. So thanks for being on. But we're going to split it into pieces. So the pieces, which are going to be pertinent to each of the different topics, will be on the YouTube channel, and you can watch them individually. I don't expect a lot of people to show up, which is fine. You guys can watch it in post. So let's get right to it. Let's do a brief introduction because both of us have been missing in action for quite a bit. I've been doing some stuff. Kelly's been doing some stuff. So let's talk a little bit about that while some people hopefully join the chat and we can get this shit rolling. So Kelly Rose, you disappeared for a while there. Very briefly, what's been going on? Where have you been? What have you been doing?
I took a break for a while, got tired of a bunch of bullshit that was going on around me. Came back, and I decided to work on some old topics, some new topics. The first one being one article. The first article I released when I came back was the one on one Miss Jennifer Daw, who's kind of gotten away with a lot of bullshit over the course of Gamergate as compared to other developers who try to market and sell a game, get all the social clout and promotion, and even made a quick buck off of it. And basically, like, the one that gets dunked on the most for this is Slade, because he fucked up the most to the point where not even the most cucked of the goobers can justify it. But then after that, everyone kind of just like either just goes,
Okay, before you move on from Slade, I would just like to acknowledge that he's a 5'5" manlet. I just wanted to, if you can pull up those pictures, Kelly, that would be great to show. Sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
Yeah, but when it comes to Daw, she was a lot more subversive, and I suspect it's because she's a female that a lot of people just kind of tolerated it, or even just willingly went along with it. In addition to like this whole controversy over this one guy saying that he was going to boycott her game, and like saying that I'm going to rally a mob of SJWs to downvote the game on Greenlight. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with how Greenlight works, there's no penalty in getting your game downvoted in Greenlight. It doesn't show up on the scale. It doesn't have any kind of thing. It just signifies you just don't like it. It has little to no impact. But they made a big deal of this. And even if you want to argue that downvoting has some minimal sort of impact with it, this whole thing was contrived. It was one guy that had like a very small following, like insignificant, like a following that just all of a sudden comes out of nowhere, and then she has this kind of reaction to it where she says, "Oh, it was really worrying when this happened when someone called for a boycott." You could hear her on a couple of Daddy Warpig streams talking about this, on her Twitter talking about this, and everyone just went along with this narrative that the game would be in danger. They even stretched this narrative out, the developers, that would be Jennifer Daw and Jason Brown, into like February, where in that month they went ahead and he suddenly decided that he was going to join Gamergate. And William Usher, who we'll get to a bit later in the show, even wrote an article about how, oh, look at this, a Seascape developer, Jason Brown, gets into it. And of course, he references the quote-unquote attempted boycott. What happened back in November, though, was a whole bunch of goobers suddenly megaphone a number one priority to get this game greenlit so that they could have a Gamergate game on their side and have it as like a flagship. And Daw used this newfound clout to basically push a whole bunch of stuff, like Solution 6 months, which was basically a challenge for people to develop their games in a 6-month period or twice as long as they previously went through. And I haven't heard anything come from that significant. Like I may have seen like maybe a couple blurbs here and they're like, oh look, I learned how to code or something like that, which is great, but it's not revealed in the indie scene like would have been a good thing. Um, there's also been some other stuff she's been pushing like women in tech here and there, but the thing that really caught my eye was when I was doing my research, I also discovered that there's a whole bunch of deadlines being missed on this product that everyone was hyping as going to be the next good game in the indie scene. And in addition to that, they also said that, oh, well, we just don't have enough funding, so we're going to subsidize this through selling T-shirts and stuff. Now, while it's not the same thing as a donation, it's still it works in the same way. And they promised the proceeds would go towards the development of the game, and it kept on being delayed. We're up to delay number 4, and delay number 5 expires by the end of the year, and I haven't really heard much about it or seen much development about it. And this person's basically been doing this for the longest time, and it's kind of a case of where if you're going to go ahead and promise the public something and you ask them to do things for you, like upload your shit on Greenlight, or give you all this, or basically get all these networks and connections. Just to clarify, she didn't explicitly say to get an uptick on Greenlight, but she definitely did push that narrative and vector out. Then you should deliver on your promises, especially if there's money involved with that as well. So that was basically the deal with that. Just another e-celeb that basically just rode this hashtagivism wave on the pretense of one thing when it was just really self-interest at the end of the day.
Well, self-interest at the end of the day, that kind of seems like the tagline most GG e-celebs should use. So you've been writing about Daw, that was fun, but you didn't answer the core question. You were gone, you took a break. Why'd you take a break?
Felt like it.
Fair enough. Me, on the other hand, I've been actually starting my own business, my own game dev thing. I've been talking to some investors. I'll get into details about that at some later time, maybe later in this very same stream. Wink, wink. So it's been a lot of fun. Can you pull up those Rogue Star pictures for me?
The Roguestar ones. I'll see if I can get them.
By the way, Mr. Ryo Gundad, Emma Gamboa on fucking YouTube made the made the picture, and Lucifer has publicly made the claim that while Rogue Star might be 5 feet 5 inches, his dick, in this case Lucifer's dick is 5 feet 5 inches. So he could slap a Rogue Star around. But please get me those pictures because I want to show how much of a manlet this little cuck is. It's fantastic. And there's a reason this picture has been kind of circulating recently, the internet, is because, as you guys may or may not know, Kia has been up in celebration. We'll get to that in a moment, because a certain bad boy has been finally dealt with by the authorities. We'll be talking about that in a moment. I just want to show the pictures of the manlet before we move into that section of the stream. Give me a moment. Let's see if Kelly Rose can pull those up. If you guys have it, you can also tweet it at me. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, that's one of them. That's a picture that one squid took with Roguestar.
Squid was with Rogue Star, really?
Yeah. They actually met up at PAX. He was the one who's been taking these pictures.
Oh, that's great. That's fucking and I bet you Rogue didn't know it was Squid. That is fucking legend, man. Okay, I'm not getting it. Are you sending it to DMs?
I sent it in the chat right here.
Oh, okay.
In the
Okay,
Hangout.
My bad. Let's pull this shit up because oh boy.
That's them to get. That's them together, but there's more images. In fact, the first image he took was just Slade walking down the street, and
that's
there
the
was
one I
DMs
want. Can
released
you get that one? Because that's the one I really want.
Oh, sure thing.
So we can show that. You can't see it right now, audience. You can only see the gloriousness of our leader Sargon right now. Okay, that's. I mean, the edge on this guy. Let's show this. Let's fucking show this. Oh wait. I love it. I fucking love it. Okay, so here's Squid. Here's fucking Squid with Roguestar. Now, I want you guys to look at the edge in this guy's eyes. I mean, look at this shit. It's great. It's fucking fantastic. Look at. I mean, he's really rocking. What the fuck is it? Did he break his hand jerking off? What the fuck is he wearing there? Now, I do have to make fun of Squid for looking like a fucking edgelord, but holy shit. Oh, Roguestar. What was he doing at PAX?
I'm not sure.
Was he still
Squid
promoting
or
necromancers? He's still lying to people?
you mean Fleetcom? In Slade's case?
Yeah.
Do not know. I didn't get the full details on that part. I do know though that after
Or is he using
after
his
the
huge fucking is he using his fucking connections to no his Nasha money, excuse me, to just have a good time at PAX?
I think he's taking the money that he took from all his backers and spending them on personal loot.
Personal loot. He's getting that personal loot, son.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Remember he didn't have the money to finish the game, so he got all this cool stuff
Well, he
instead.
has the money now because he's a high end. Well, not exactly high end, but you know what I mean. There's nothing high about him. But he's a worker at the Nasha, and he works with the drones. So, so that's
He
just
kills
fantastic.
children.
That's. I wouldn't let Slade anywhere near children if it were up to me, but. Oh shit. Fucking Slade is a man. I want to get. Where's the fucking manlet picture? Oh, you got it. Okay, you said. Fucker,
Yep.
you have to tell me you fucking got it. Okay, so here is Slade in all of his fucking glory. Just look at him. Like, this retarded, weird, brony dragon thing is taller than him. This kid, who looks like a 14-year-old fucking kid, is clearly larger than Slade. Oh, look at the Green Power Ranger just looking at him in shame. It's like, who let that little boy walk around PAX all on his own? And I like the swag which with he that he walks with. I just love the swag. I mean, it's great. You're gonna have to send me a tweet save, by the way, of whatever Slade you were showing there, because he has me blocked on the Twitter because he's a brave individual.
Bird.
So I mean, look at the shit. I mean, even you, it's perfect. He's a manlet. He's next to this weird furry dragon thing. John Cena's in the picture. Okay, a Power Ranger and a gay ninja are taking a picture, and Slade's just walking there all alone behind a 14-year-old. I'm gonna get you, kid. I'm gonna get you to buy Fleetcom because I'm a Nasha employee, motherfucker. Oh, I have way too much fun. I have way too much fucking fun. I mean, how the fuck does Slade, how does Slade fuck? Like, how does he do it? Literally. Like, women can clearly carry him with one arm. He's 5'5". I mean, who does he fuck? I mean, stupid question. Slade doesn't have sex.
Well, the rumors are that he fucked Cult of Vivian. I don't know how true that is, but it's an allegation that's been raised.
Well, that seems just like Colt of Vivian.
Well, she's probably the only woman small enough, to be in the same comparable
Is she
height.
tiny? She looks tall in her pictures. She's also
No,
tiny.
she's not that tall. No, she actually is very short. I think she's actually 5 foot, like what, zero. I'm not 100% sure, but you see the picture with her at that particular convention. The ones that Male Goddess tweets out and says that she and calls her a tranny, which for all I know that could be true. I
Well, wait a
mean,
minute, wait a minute. Is Slade playing the tough guy routine in this tweet, calling him a wuss? Is like, oh my god, look, he can't fuck with me.
I just don't get this
While
guy.
at the
It's like,
same time showing that yes, he is in a DM group with all these fucking cucks, okay, and they're all high fiving each other and shit. So he's calling. So wait a minute, he's calling Squid a fucking wuss for not tweeting at him directly. Slade, you're 5'5". My nephew's taller than you, and he's 12. And what the fuck, son? My girlfriend is like a foot taller than you. What? Jesus, Slade. My girlfriend's 5'11", I think. Like
is this a good time to also show him contacting King of Pole about harassment charges?
yes,
Because all right, let me
please,
see if I can
because that
get that.
segues great into our next topic. Please
Sure
show
thing.
me that because that is fantastic. I didn't know he was gonna. Squid, he's coming after you. Please.
It's not Squid though, but it's a case of where I'm just wondering like what's going on in this guy's head. Like, does he not know that Like this is the same guy, and I actually made a tweet earlier that illustrates the point.
Okay, did you send it to me via the good convo on the Hangouts?
Getting it right now. Here we go.
But first
Yeah,
off, while
this
you
thing.
send me that, like Squid looks like he weighs 200 pounds. How is Slade gonna fuck with Squid directly? I mean, Squid could eat him. Okay, I'm sure Squid's eating Twinkies that are bigger than fucking Slade. And I'm not calling Squid fat. That's not what this is about. I'm just saying that clearly Squid's got the weight going on. He's got the weight. How is Manlet Slade gonna beat him up? How is he gonna do that? Like really? Seriously?
He's going to channel his inner Nasha powers.
I mean, let's take it to DM. Ralph's history of assault and harassment need to be clarified for the DA. We're doing a game. Right. So this is the guy talking about Ralph's harassment on the interwebs who a year ago was making his own little threats on the Twitter thing and dismissing it. Well, it's not important. It's a Twitter, which I agree with, by the way. But he's going to press charges for actual crimes, guys. It's actual fucking crimes. Holy fucking shit. This is too
Yep.
good. So I think that's a good enough introduction. I think everyone who's going to be here at this ungodly hour is going to come in. Now let's go right up to fucking topic number 2. Okay? Now, making a little pause there, a little easier to cut for me because I'm a lazy fuck. The second topic is the Ralph. The Ralph issue. Everybody watching this or here probably knows what I'm talking about when I see the Ralph issue. You know what I'm talking about. Ralph in jail, put into the slammer, allegedly. Kelly, if you can start pulling all that shit up so we can use a couple of those so
Sure.
people know what we're talking about. Um,
I don't think it's alleged that he's been thrown in jail. I'm pretty sure that's been confirmed. I mean, unless the lowdown county police are, lying about that in their own reports, which I really find very, very unlikely. Um,
okay,
which
so
I'll get the.
can you give people a summary while you look for that into what happened,
Sure.
allegedly?
Okay. Basically, the gist of it is Ralph apparently, this is alleged, keep in mind, so we don't know all the full details. I don't know every little intricate thing, and then going basically mostly off of memory of what I've read in the reports and in the articles and basically Ralph's own account. I think he might have also done a live stream about the incident, so we may get more clarification there. Though I also know that he also said on Twitter that his lawyer said not to talk about the charges specifically, so he might be limited at capacity. Basically, the story goes like this: he was drunk at a hotel. Some police officers came by, and apparently he was startled, and apparently, according to the story, he allegedly assaulted them in some manner, and allegedly he cussed them out or something like that, because that was also one of the charges, and there was some sort of form of disorderly conduct. So for that, he was thrown in jail, and for a time being, he was denied bail. And now he's. The good news is though he did actually eventually get bail. He's scheduled for a court hearing this October, so that's the basic gist of it. And again, if I got something wrong, it's because I'm going off of memory, not having a direct
Okay.
source in front of
So
me.
get the direct source. So I just want to ask a couple of quick questions. Question 1.
All
So
right.
it was allegedly a hotel lobby. At what time?
I believe it was late at night. Let me get the. Let me
Okay,
just
you
get
get
that
the
up.
data. You get the data meanwhile, and let's talk about what's going on in general. Um, you get all the data, get all that shit, and let's talk about what this has caused. This has caused, first off, this little altercation with the police has caused the likes of William Usher to channel his inner cuck and white knight for the likes of Liana motherfucking K in order to attack this extremist Gamergate leader. These were Ralph is the representation of everything that the good goober boys, the good guys, okay, the good goober boys who are all about that cunt of Vivian, denounced. So Kia's up in celebration. Oh my God, Ralph is proven to be shit. Look at it. Everything he's ever said is clearly a lie and untrue because of this situation. Now, we need to comment on 2 things. One, we need to comment on those people and what they're doing. And I wish I could put triple parentheses around those people, but it's oral speech, so I can't. And the second thing we need to talk about Ralph himself, because apparently I don't know if it's related. It should be. It's pretty obvious it is. But Ralph has stepped down as editor in chief of his own site and he's a writer on his own site rather than editor in chief. Don't know why you do that. Maybe it's time. Maybe I've reached out. He hasn't really told me anything. Maybe it's time issues. Maybe it has to do with the case. Don't know what it is. But he stepped down, and now Nora is the new editor in chief. And it seems Goose is a very important part of the site as well. So we need to talk about the charges themselves, and I'm trying to buy time for Kelly to find them so we can have all of the information so we can talk about them.
I have a report up by the Loudoun County Police. I'll just read it off. I was going to post it all in the chat, but actually it'll be better if I read it off anyway.
Go ahead.
So you were asking about the time. It happened on the 27th of August at 6:45 in the morning. I'm not going to list the address. I don't think that's too important. It was an assault. Lowdown County. The police responded to this location for a report of an intoxicated male sleeping in the lobby. Deputies attempted to wake up the male, who in turn assaulted a deputy. The subject was identified as Ethan O'Ralph, 30, of Richmond, Virginia. Ralph was arrested and charged with obstruction of justice and 2 counts of assault on law enforcement. He is currently being held at the Loudoun County Adult Detention Center without bond. That's the story.
Okay, so 27th of August, 6 o'clock in the morning. So that means Friday night party, doing the drinking, falling asleep in a hotel lobby. So I need to ask a couple of questions because we have to be fair here. We have to really look at this as is. First off, what the fuck is Ralph doing at 6 o'clock in the morning, asleep in a lobby, in a hotel? That is the first question I have. So people will say, well, he can do whatever he wants. He's an adult. He is. I just find it, as somebody who's currently in a relationship, as he is, I find it very strange that he would go out. You know, his girlfriend lives in another country, so obviously he's going to go out and stuff. But that scenario, that reminds me of my college days when I was picking up chicks and stuff like that. I don't do that anymore. Now, I'm not insinuating Ralph is cheating. That's not the point of this. The point of this is, what is Ralph doing alone? Clearly no friends around him, because what kind of friends are just going to leave you sleeping in a lobby? I mean, they'd take you home or they'd let you crash on their sofa. So he's alone, out drinking a Friday night, and ends up somehow in a hotel, asleep in the lobby. Okay? They attempt to call, I'm assuming that the people in the lobby try to wake him up or whatever, and then they call the police. Now, if you have a room in a hotel lobby, they don't tend to call the police immediately. Okay, so what I'm assuming is he went to a party. He went to a fucking party, right? He got wasted, fucking shit-faced, to the point that he passed out in the lobby. That seems like the most likely scenario. I don't get why Ralph is putting himself in these situations. Like, if I was in a long-distance relationship, I wouldn't be going out getting shit-faced at a party because I might end up fucking someone. That's just me. I might end up fucking someone because I'm really attractive. Wink, wink. So, and clearly he was alone because none of his buddies were around to even fucking let him sleep in their car. So, alone, late at night, Friday, getting shit-faced. Poor decision. Poor fucking decision making by Ralph there. So I'm not gonna fucking be nice about that. It's a stupid decision. Okay. Furthermore, he's not in fucking college. He's a 30-year-old. Okay, so this is a grown-ass man who goes out on a Friday night, gets shit-faced to the point that he can't even make it back home. Okay, he's apparently alone, or his friends are douchebags that just left him in a fucking lobby. Possible. It's also possible. I've never been so drunk to the point that I wander into a lobby and fall asleep there. So I'm going to assume that the party or the drinking took place in the hotel itself. Okay, because I can't fathom that level of drunk. And I've been fucking shit-faced and hammered. Okay, I've just never do that alone. That makes no sense. So that's the first thing. He's a grown man, so he can do that. But it's not a smart situation to put yourself in, especially if you're in a relationship that's long distance. It's not something I would personally do. Kelly, what do you think about that portion in particular? Do you agree, disagree, comments, concerns? Kelly, you there? I think we might have lost John Kelly Rose.
I apologize for that. I had some technical difficulties.
Okay.
My thoughts on that. I think Ralph made a mistake. Whichever, like, based on what we know so far, maybe there's something that could shed new
We're
light on
we're
that
leaving the
that
police
we
thing
don't know.
out. We're talking just about the scenario. It's Friday night, goes out drinking, apparently alone, because again, none of his friends were fucking friendly enough to take him home or let him sleep in the car or whatever, or call someone of his loved ones and tell him where he is. Um, so apparently alone. That's not confirmed. He could have gone out with friends. They were just assholes and left him there. But it seems like a really shitty like situation to put yourself in. Like if I go out to parties and if I go out drinking and I go out alone, I'm doing it to pick up chicks. So I haven't done that in a while. Okay? Ralph is in a long distance relationship. Why is he putting himself in these scenarios that will not end well? Like why do you get shit faced and end up in a lobby in a hotel? I'm assuming the party was in the hotel himself. And again, the implication is not that he's cheating or anything like that. The implication is why would you put yourself in this situation? Like if you want to go on a party, you want to have some drinks, that's fine. But shit faced to the point that you pass out in a hotel lobby, that we're assuming, okay, we're assuming the party or the drinking, whatever, took place in said hotel, rather than him wandering in off the street and falling asleep in the fucking lobby, okay? Which is a possibility, but we're just going to discount that for his benefit. So I think it's a stupid situation to put yourself in. Do you agree, disagree? Lucifer, for example, says it's nobody's business. That's a fine answer, but we're speculating here off of the whole situation. What do you think? Do you agree with
Well,
my
my
assessment?
thoughts.
Disagree? Go ahead.
I would agree with your assessment that it was definitely a mistake for Ralph to put himself in such a situation. In addition to that, I just think that in general, people drink far too much in their society. I think that really, when you get down to it, it should be something that
You're just
is
a
done
lightweight, Kelly. Admit it.
occasionally.
You're a pussy. Admit it.
No, that's I personally don't drink, but like I don't know how well I could or could not hold it. I mean, it doesn't seem to be something that's worth doing. You're basically injecting like it's basically a case of where I don't want to try to say that all drinking. I'm not saying that all drinking is wrong. In moderation, it's perfectly fine, but I just don't like the idea of drinking in general. It's the highest enabler of crime for one thing. It kills brain cells and it destroys your liver. It's not good to be drinking constantly. Um, so that's my thoughts on that. And I know a lot of people won't exactly agree with that position, but I don't see it as morally justifiable to, you know, get drunk like at all or to be drinking every night for that matter. That's just my thoughts on the matter. But people are going to be feel free to disagree with that one.
Okay. So here's my the next part of that. So the next part of that is that Ralph allegedly assaulted a police officer. Now I've seen a lot of shit going around when it comes to this claim. We're going to get into the cuck shit in a moment because we're going to obviously take them out. I want to talk a little bit about the people who are defending Ralph. Now, I've been defending Ralph for a really long time. Before it was cool, okay? I'm a hipster Ralph defender, okay? I've been supporting him before he was a big deal, and we have the DMs to back that up. Now, I don't think, however, that because I've seen these claims, I saw them on Facebook, I've seen them on Twitter, where people go like, well, we don't know what happened, and clearly, you know, the police have a tendency to overreact when it comes to these kind of charges. You know, you'll be charged with assault for nothing. That's the Black Lives Matter position. Okay, I refuse to white knight for Ralph against the police in this particular instance. He's innocent until proven guilty. Granted that, okay, we have to wait for the actual fucking we have to wait for the actual, you know, trial and to see if he's found guilty. But I'm not going to go and say, I'm not going to blame the police in this instance, okay? I'm not going to blame the fucking police because the context that has been painted, and we're assuming that the context is correct, drunk guy in a hotel lobby, certainly doesn't make him look innocent. And quite frankly, I'm not going to go and say, oh, I doubt the police in this case. No. If Ralph is found guilty of assaulting the police, that's a disgusting behavior. One he has denounced himself when it comes to Black Lives Matter, and then people go, oh, it's not the same thing. Black Lives Matter ones that killed the police. Well, Ralph just, you know, probably pushed him or shoved him. It doesn't matter. Raising your hand, voice, any kind of thing against a fucking law enforcement officer is not acceptable. It's a disgusting behavior and one that I would expect him to apologize for if found guilty. Okay? It's simply not okay, and anybody going around saying, well, Ralph didn't do nothing. Okay, that's exactly the exact same fucking attitude that Black Lives Matter has towards the police. That we have to doubt the police in everything, and they are out to get people. So no, I'm not giving I'm giving Ralph the benefit of the doubt in the sense that he hasn't been found guilty yet, but I'm not going to go ahead and even speculate that the police are exaggerating anything until that's proven in a court of law. What are your thoughts on that, Kelly?
My thoughts on that are, in principle, you're correct, but there's something odd about this particular case. Like, if the screenshots that people have been sharing around about like the list of charges against Ralph are correct, it looks to me like he got the entire book thrown at him. Like anything they could possibly find on this guy, they decided to push against him. Now, maybe that's how the police operate in that particular sector, but to me, it seems like there may have been it. This is going a bit. This is getting a bit speculative on my part, but it's a case of where it might be that he was basically set up in a position where the police would find him and then basically put him in a position where they startle him, they interpret it as assault, and then they basically decide, oh, we'll see how many charges we can get this guy, and try to get him sentenced maximally.
Oh, that
Because
sounds a lot like the can't breathe. I can't breathe argument. Oh, this guy was set up in a position where he was committing a minimum crime, and then they used as much power against him as they could. That it sounds like the same thing. I mean, isn't the charge assault against a police officer? I think there's multiple
that's one of the
charges, right?
yes, that's one of the charges. Another
What are the
one
next
is
ones?
public swearing, which again that comes across to me as disorderly conduct. And granted, if it were up to me, in all cases, if you do act outside the law, you would get charged with whatever crimes you committed. Like, there wouldn't be any kind of leniency, or it would have to be very, very circumstantial evidence. But the question I have is, because Ralph is also a media figure, keep in mind, is it possible that someone set this up? Like, maybe like the Jews did or something like that.
No, absolutely not. Because it would, first of all, the big
So that's a
problem.
little
That's a little
that's a
too
little
conspiratorial for my taste. And Ralph doesn't like engaging in conspiracy theories. I mean, you can't talk about the Jews on his stream, so I'm not going to give him the benefit of a conspiracy theory in this case. But no, because the entire situation, let's assume that they're being a little too harsh with him, quote unquote. For example, you said public swearing. What were the other ones?
Let me see if I can get that up. Actually, yes, I can do it relatively quickly. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there was. Hold on one second. Assaulting an officer and public swearing were the ones that stuck out. There was also obstruction of justice, which seemed a little odd,
That's resisting
given the
arrest, I'm
context.
assuming.
Quite possibly, yeah.
I think that's what
Like,
they mean.
I'm not. Yeah. Um, full screenshots say.
So we have public swearing, which we're just going to call disorderly conduct, assault on a police officer, and obstruction of justice, which is probably resisting arrest.
Yeah, there was 5 charges that were shown in some of these screenshots, and again, it's assuming that they're legit because I haven't been able to verify them for myself, unfortunately, because you
Okay.
gotta like
Can you give
apparently
me
you
the
gotta
other
pay a
two?
fee for it.
Can you give me the other two?
I'll see if I can find it. I thought I had a source on this on hand. Fortunately, I don't. Let me try.
Because if you can't, we'll just assume it's those three.
All right. One second.
Okay, so I'm gonna read a comment here by Chris. He says, "Pretty sure if you're drunk enough to go nap time in a hotel lobby, you ain't gonna be able to Jackie Chan a cop. Probably was just a usually loud swearing self." Okay, assault against a police officer. There's not okay. I can shove him, but I can't punch him in the face. No, it's you assaulted a police officer. It doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter if you just laid a finger on him. That's assaulting. As you shouldn't be fucking doing that. What are you doing? Uh, uh, Engaging in any kind of physicality or any kind of aggressiveness against the cops. Now, I'm gonna work off the assumption that it's just those three uh, accusations, unless Kelly can find another one while I talk. That doesn't. Those three don't sound like anyone throwing the book. That's just guy is drunk, right? They say, "Sir, please wake up. You need to leave. Sir, you need to wake up." And he wakes up and he's like, "Fucking nigger assholes! What the fuck are you doing? Leave me the fuck alone, sir. We need you to calm down. Leave me the motherfucker alone. Do you know who the fuck I am, motherfucker? I'll kick you off this stream, sir. What are you talking about? We need you to please exit the building and come with us. No, don't fucking touch me, small shub." That little scenario that I
Okay,
just painted for you guys has all three of those accusations. Keep going.
I found this. Okay, I found the screenshot in question, and I linked it over there, and I'll also link it in the chat here. This one was originally posted to KA. Presume. Not exactly sure who did it. Um, Its charges are two assaults of assault on a law enforcement agent, one charge of obstruction of justice without force, and a charge of public swearing / intoxication.
Okay.
So it's four, not five, and two of them are the same.
Okay. So it's pretty much the three ones I just talked about, repeated. One of them repeated. So people are kind of white knighting a bit for Ralph in the chat. They're going like, well, spit is classified as assault. So do we want to live in a world where you can spit on a police officer and nothing happens? Like, if this weren't Ralph, if this was like the leader of Black Lives Matter, we'd be shitting on him, like nonstop. We'd be asking for his head. Like, I'm just saying that we should actually fucking apply equal standards in this case, because the law is equal for everyone. And this whole, well, he just shoved him or just yelled at him. That's not a big deal. Well, he didn't kill anyone, granted, but he still broke the law, and it's still reprimandable behavior. And it all comes off of his personal choice of getting shit-faced to the point that he goes nappy-nap in a hotel. Like, it's all on him. There's no, like, at best you could say, well, we should reduce the charges, but if this is actually what happened, it's absolutely all on him. It's disgusting behavior, and it shouldn't be fucking applauded or white knighted for. Now, does this mean that everything Ralph has ever done, said, or will do in the future is invalidated because of this? No, it doesn't. But it's not something that should be applauded or white knighted for. It's something that we should wait and see what happens in the trial, wait for him to make a public statement. If not to make a public statement, we should fucking see what the county finds him on, because I think those, I think if you're found guilty, that's public. People can see that. And we should wait in that sense. But the white knighting for it's not a big deal. Oh, who cares? He just got drunk. No, these are not acceptable. We live in a society, and we've decided these behaviors are not acceptable, and he engaged them in through his own free will. Like, if you're gonna get shit faced, have a buddy that you trust nearby so that he can take you home. Like, that's basic.
Comment from the chat. Ralph will probably clear a lot of things up on his stream, apparently tomorrow. So
That'll be great. That'll be great to hear him
yeah.
clear that shit up. Uh, so hopefully, I mean, I thought he couldn't talk about it because ongoing case or whatever. Lawyer told him not to say anything. But we'll see.
He specifically said he can't talk about the charges, but he can talk about his experience. So apparently he has some wiggle room as far as that goes. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, we'll see how much wiggle room he actually has. But again, we'll have to see.
What concerns me more, though, is the media circus around this. Like, you had a bunch of people write a bunch of articles calling him the leader of Gamergate or a leader of Gamergate, which honestly, that's minutia when we really get down to it when it comes to whole leader stuff. I've seen some people take that and say that, oh, look, Ralph can sue for libel now, or some of them have been doing a bit more tongue in cheek, like, can Ralph sue for libel? Which the answer is no, because you can't prove damages. And the second part of that is, this idea that there's no leaders in Gamergate is kind of, it's wrong and it's right. There's no formal leaders in Gamergate. There's no declared guy that's the king or accepted by any metric. But there are natural leaders, and this is something that's important. I've actually written at least one of my article that one of these e-celebs, Lo Ping, in the, I believe it was the Acid Man article I wrote, and it may have also been in the one I wrote specifically about him. Actual name being Jamal Zimbali, but that's besides the point. um, these natural leaders do rise up, and I would consider Ralph to be a natural leader because a lot of people do follow what he has to say. Um, so
I
this
would like to
idea
offer a
that
caveat here,
these
because
okay,
when you say that, it kind of sounds like, well, these people have natural leadership skills. Not necessarily. They could have just exploited a vacuum of power or need. Like, for example, Sargon has no quality of a natural leader, nor does Oliver Campbell. But it was at a time that people needed someone to look at and say, okay, he's talking about the Gamergate stuff. I can read it because people are naturally lazy. So there you go.
I can see the point, but it doesn't really take away from what I'm saying here. Like the media calling someone a leader, that's more of an observational thing. It's like, oh, this guy functions as a leader, so I'm going to write him down as a leader of this movement. I know a lot of people get triggered by the word movement, but when you really get down to it, this whole idea that, oh, you can't call it a movement thing, you technically can't call anything a movement if you apply that standard when you really think about it.
Well, untrue.
Like,
That you have movements that are organized, that declare leaders, declare manifesto, and declare themselves as a movement. I know
true,
what you're
but
getting
like
at,
this is
but just wanted to make that caveat.
this is a yeah, this is like a semantical point, but since it was raised by Usher, which we'll get into in a second, and more in depth, I just don't see the point here of like complaining about oh, Ralph was declared to be a leader by the media. I'd be more concerned with people saying that Ralph is a harasser of women. That's a lot more damaging than him being a leader of a hashtagavism.
Well, keep in mind it's the way of how the media applies these labels without being, liable for anything. Like, okay, we can't call you a harasser of women directly because you could sue us. So what we'll do is we'll call you a leader of this movement, and then we'll call the movement a harasser of women movement. Now,
That's a good point.
we're gonna now segue into the whole William Usher shit because this motherfucker really needs to be spat on. I just want to make a couple of things clear. Thing one, I like Ralph. I really have. In fact, I was part of his, I'd say, outer circles for a while. We talked regularly. Um, that started to decline the harder I hit Sargon. And what we're seeing now, in a way, I hope Ralph learns from it because a lot of this is happening because he's decided to be super moderate. Because he's decided to do things like say Sargon didn't do nothing and then not, then not report and then not update his story to in fact he did do something. Uh, and to try to take this neutral-ish approach on certain things from within movement and deciding I can't hit E-celebs unless they're beneath me, like Cult of Vivian and stuff like that. This is what happens when you do that, because now they've turned around and called him Mr. Extreme, super extreme, super extreme. It's terrible. And because a portion of his audience is built off of the idea that he doesn't engage with these people who they love, because if Ralph would hit Sargon really hard, and he'd shit on him, and he'd take sides on that, he would lose a portion of his audience. He'd gain another portion, which is what he doesn't see, but he would lose a portion of his audience. So what these people do now shouldn't surprise him. These people have been waiting for the correct moment to shit on him. And if he would have taken more of a yes or no answer on things, he would have been a little bit more open to to kind of more quote unquote hardcore positions. This wouldn't surprise his audience. It wouldn't be a big deal. Now it's kind of like you have people that he has either agreed with in the past or been fine with in the past.
Variloh, you're on a good roll here, but I have to interrupt because we're having technical difficulties. Apparently the stream's not coming through, and when I refresh the page, it's basically either coming in spurts or it's just dead.
Okay, wait, can they hear me now? Is it good now?
Let me check. I'm going to check that.
It says I'm alive. Needs to be spat on. I just want to make a couple of things clear. Thing one, I like Ralph. I really have. In fact, I was part. Okay, so stream seems to be dead.
Yeah. Seems we're having more technical difficulties.
I don't know what the fuck's happening. Everything on my end says it's fine.
Trying to remember what you did last time.
We'll just start and stop it. Let's see.
Yeah, it's definitely dead. There's no way they can hear us. Whenever I refresh the page, it basically plays over the same 5 seconds that we've heard. of like
Okay, it should be
again.
live now.
All right. Let me refresh the page. See if that works.
It's giving me green Steam health.
Hmm.
Clear thing one. I like Ralph. I really have. In fact, I was part. Okay, so I know where it stopped.
Okay, the chat's still up, by the way, so they're still here. It's just they can't hear a thing. So we're pretty much
I don't know what to do.
um I'd say start a do like a regular like
No, I can't do that. It has to be like this.
shit. Is there any like I wish I was more familiar with Google Hangouts to be honest. Ugh. Um can you stop streaming and then restart the stream?
And let's see if it works.
All right. Maybe it's something to do with your settings with the OBS and the stream software. Like it could be
I
a
like Ralph.
disconnect.
I really have. In fact, I was part.
Settings with the OBS and
Give me a sec.
the stream software. Okay, like it could be
I
a
like Ralph.
disconnect.
I really have. In fact, I was part.
Settings with the OBS.
Okay, I think we're back. I think we're back.
Yeah. The thing is though, like you'll be on a good roll, but then all of a sudden, bam, off air.
Yeah, that's that's YouTube at its best. Chad, can you confirm that I'm back?
Um, Someone's asking if you're back on, so maybe not. Um, I think the response is yes, they can hear us.
Okay, so the good news is I know exactly where it cut off now, so we can keep going. So as I was saying, I was a part of Ralph's outer circles for a while there. I talked to him regularly, so I like Ralph and the Ralph Retort. The big problem that I'm seeing is that he went very moderate on certain things. Case in point, example. Um, when it came to the Sargon thing, he wrote his article saying, there's nothing here. He didn't do nothing. He's a good boy. And ever since that's been proven to be false, and Sargon has come out and actually said he doesn't give a shit about game dev and all that other kind of stuff, there's been no correction. There's been no update. There's no story there. It doesn't matter. Oh my God, we're not talking about that. And this is, then people go, well, that's a minor thing. It doesn't matter. And people can make that excuse. There are plenty of articles on his site that can be called minor and can be called less significant, less important than this. And more importantly, it's part of his responsibility as a journalist, because I know he doesn't like that word, but he is a fucking journalist, as a journalist, to update his stories and that kind of stuff. So he's gone very moderate. He doesn't want to attack certain people. He wants to make sure, like, he won't say a bad word about Milo. He won't accept a bad word about Milo. Won't talk about Jews on stream. Doesn't like that. I don't know if he's changed that ever since. I know that that's something I wasn't allowed on stream to do. So, does he actually ever update his non-recent articles? The Anna K articles. So, yes, he does. So, it's the point I'm making here is that him going this moderate, it's eventually going to happen that these people are going to bite him in the ass, because this moderate group don't accept him. Because Ralph isn't part of their in-click. They've never accepted him. And he's tried to go moderate to kind of be able to appeal to the Sargon audience and to the, outright audience and to the softcore liberal audience and to the, right-wing audience. He's trying to get as many people to read him as possible, which I understand. He's a business owner. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, if you don't give a yes or no answer, these moderates were just waiting in the wings to stab him in the back. And a prime example of that shit is William Usher. Prime example, because people are talking a lot about the Brianna Wu writing an article about him. William Usher is quoted by Brianna Wu. So that should tell you, I mean, these moderates, remember, they become indistinguishable from them, have no problem being quoted by fucking what they call SJWs, which are just liberals and stuff like that. So let's get into that. Kelly, tell us a little bit about the William Usher article. Send it to me if you can so we can show it on screen.
You got it. Basically, the William Usher article, as I grab it, the thing that really disappoints me about this is I've never like fully like there's certain things I've never fully agreed with him on, like the SPJ stuff, for example. I think it was a mistake on his part. Maybe in retrospect, I think in retrospect he acknowledges it was a mistake, but I'm not 100% sure about that. That was just something that no, he shouldn't have even touched. He should have just left it alone, just commented from the sidelines like he usually does. But for the most part,
Who again is Usher?
Usher, yeah, he got involved with the SPJ. He was part of the committee for the selecting the panelists. That, in my opinion, was a big error on his part. But the reason I have respect for the guy is he has a good work ethic. He normally gets the sauce and he does the actual reporting. Like he doesn't just do the stuff where he basically just finds an editorial and then comments in said editorial and then add his own little commentary. He actually does the investigative research, or at the very least has other people do it for him so he can have the sources available, and then gives a piece to the public to explain, okay, here are the facts and here's the interpretation of said facts. That's what I really liked about him, and I think that it's something that I think I can still appreciate about him, but I don't know. I'm not certain about that because these two latest articles are basically hit pieces. Now, the first thing that's interesting is about the first article. It's basically, oh, well, Ethan Ralph was arrested and he was thrown in jail, and he was also a terrible person who, like, let me just read one specific quote, which sums up my thoughts in the article thusly. Sadly, the pitbull nature of Ralph's reporting, gaining him both followers and critics alike, ended up seeing him and his outlet being compared to sites like Gawker.com, which is now defunct. Now, what's odd about this is in the middle of a hit piece, which the term hit piece is very subjective to begin with, but it's clearly a assault of Ralph's character, which is fine. Like, I don't mind people doing those kind of pieces on people. But in Usher's case, if he's complaining about Gawker being this tabloid rag, going after and attacking people in Pitbull style, what is Usher doing doing this to Ralph? The hypocrisy is just brazen
Well, he's
on his
reporting
part.
the news, Kelly.
Well, he's a gaming blog. Like, he's supposed to report on gaming related stuff, and I like. I just don't get it, like why he's basically deviating from his
Well,
usual
what
modus
made you
operandi.
think that a site called One Angry Gamer would shit on his competition? Come
Nah, that's a good point. Oh, yeah, got me
on.
there.
Anyway,
Solid logic.
but again, the his excuse he'll put is that, well, Ralph is Gamergate, Gamergate is video, so it's not hit based. It's
Well,
relevant to my readers. That's what he
well,
would.
what was the last? Well, that's nonsense because Ralph hasn't like yeah, sure, Ralph does pieces on GamerGate, and you could say, but the thing is, GamerGate is much bigger than just gaming. It also has to do with social media. It has to do with the press, which actually William Usher does do a lot of stuff on the media in general and a lot of tech stuff. But it's usually in the same umbrella field. He doesn't go out of his way to report on, say, someone getting arrested for disorderly conduct. That just seems out of left field. Like Ralph being arrested, to the best of my knowledge, in this particular case, has nothing to do with his writing. Like, would you agree with that statement?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of a moot point because again, it go back with, he writes about gaming. Gamergate is a gaming situation. I think there's a lot of wiggle room there. What I think is more, I don't disagree with you that this article is disgusting. What I think is a more relevant point, at least to me, okay, is that if you look at this first paragraph, it goes, once known as a loud and aggressive voice during early days of hashtag Gamergate, Ethan Ralph became notorious for his unbridled opinions and attack dog nature against anyone unfortunate enough to get stuck in between his crosshairs. The Ralph retort was both an information source and later a trashing ground for hit pieces designed to tear down and destroy the opposition. Well, the owner, Ethan Ralph, has been arrested and jailed for disorderly conduct and assault on law enforcers. Now, the problem I have with this paragraph sets the tone for the rest of this article. He's talking about how first he was an information source, then he was just a hit piece blog. That's factually incorrect. It's not true. Okay. Second, he puts it as his unbridled opinion. Again, guys like me, who you would consider people like me, the quote unquote extremist, criticize Ralph, and I've said it to his face. This is not something I go around his back saying, that he's too moderate. That he used to be more, hardcore with his opinions, and I understand he's running a business, but he's become a little bit too moderate, a little bit too soft on people. And this guy is trying to put Ralph as this super extremist, Nazi level motherfucker. And he reduces him to all he does is write trashing grounds for the opposition. Now, I like it that he admits that Cult of Vivian is liberal and is the opposition because she's the most notorious one that he's trashed in the last year, I guess. Um, but that end sentence kind of goes like he used to do all this, and now he was arrested. It's kind of putting the caveat to he's this terrible extremist, and he's finally been arrested because that's what happens to extremists. So it really reinforces that. It really sets the tone, and we're going to look at more of this article, obviously. But it's like, what does all of this have to do with this sentence? What does how he writes and him being, having what he calls extremist or unbridled opinions have to do with his charges? He wasn't charged for his opinions. He was charged for being drunk and assaulting a police officer. It's two very separate things. While I condemn, if it's true, what happened to Ralph, why I condemn him for doing what he did, that has nothing to do with his actions on the site or writing on the site. So what does this have to do with this? And he will obviously say, well, it's an introduction so people understand who it is. But Lucifer puts it best. It's just character assassination. That's all this is. And as you pointed out, he's a hypocrite because this is a hit piece. Okay, whether it's relevant or not to his site, this is what people would qualify as a hit piece. Whenever you write about somebody in a negative way, they call that a hit piece. Okay?
Pretty much.
So,
Also, I think the worst part about this is Usher's usually the guy who says that, oh well, you should always go out and request for comment, and I tried to reach out for this person. Like he's been fairly consistent with that to the best of my knowledge. Why is he writing this article when the guy can't even respond?
well, you could say that he's reporting the news and that then, you can then request for comment because it's a live situation. But you're asking the wrong person in this case because I think the whole request for comment thing is stupid.
I actually do agree with that for the
So
most part.
I think
Like,
that's
there's
more of
just
a I think that's more of a negative on him with painting into because again it's
I
something you will eventually break and he breaks it here clearly. If he's so hardcore on that, he should have waited until Ralph got out. Um,
well, that's the thing. If he's going to stick to that ideal that basically you should request for
of course,
comment,
then there's the assumption
then
that maybe Ralph, because he has no bail, will not get out. That's a possibility. And
there,
they had
there's
to get the
also
story
one.
out. But I think
There's
what's
also one other
go ahead.
there's also one other point. It's a bit of minutia, but he could have just called the county police. Like, he doesn't just have to strictly bound himself to the internet. He could just make a phone call and say, "Hey, can I speak with Ethan and Ralph? I'm here to write an article." Like, I'm pretty sure he can do that, unless I'm mistaken.
So,
Like,
I mean, what immediately happens, and we're going to read this whole article because I forgot how short it fucking was. Immediately, within the next 5 lines, he quotes 3 cucks. Like, that's some rapid fire cucks there. That's some rapid cucking there. First one, gamer ticks. Now, what the fuck is gamer ticks? I have to ask.
oh, it's a site run by one Michael Spacegen,
Of course it
aka
is.
Michael Jordan.
Who is Michael Jordan? He's the guy who will hire 11-year-old kids and pay them in amiibos to write for him. Okay, this guy is like the fucking the epicenter of cuck. He's the typical suit-wearing motherfucker. I mean, there's no like he doesn't wear suits obviously, but he's like the perfect cucked liberal. I mean, just listening to this guy talk, you say cucked. I mean, he clearly just gives a shit about money. He clearly, I mean, how many sites have he had? I mean, what is this? Like the third, fourth? Keeps renaming it, rebranding it. Michael, you're always going to suck. You're never going to have a successful site, man. You're always going to suck. Okay? And I think the thing I'm mad at most when it comes to Ralph is what the fuck happened with that hair? Holy shit, man. What the fuck? Come on. Do better. But anyway, like he immediately quotes Michael fucking Jordan's site. Okay? Cuck 101, trying to make money, failed at it. Who pays kids in Amiibo. Then he quotes the very accurate source, Kotaku in Action. Okay? Kotaku in Action. And quotes them that they're tracking developments. And then he quotes Master Cuck, who's your favorite person in the world, Super Nerdland's John Sweeney. Like that is rapid fire there. Rapid fire. Give us in 30 seconds or less why Mr. Scrump Monkey is a cuck and why Super Nerdland is shit.
Why? Because he reinforces the ethics only narrative over even late into August 2015 after the SBJ marathon went out. Like he wrote this bizarre manifesto about it. Like honestly, I should have just taken that down apart piece by piece because it just shows the idea that you have to constrain yourself to a certain modus operandi and keep on using that, and that somehow will fix the problems of the media, which or some other bullshit. I think he's dropped that since, and he's like he's associated like he's a big lib himself, associated with a whole bunch of liberals. And I think the worst part is though he'll actively and openly lie about people on social media. Like he's just that disgusting, and his reporting is completely sloppy, and he's been corrected at least twice by his own team. So even other cucks think he's garbage. Like
Now,
really, the guy is.
and there's another thing for the ethics and games journalism people. All three of these have issues with Ralph. Michael Jordan does not like Ralph. He said so publicly on stream. He doesn't like him. Kotaku in Action loves Ralph, so I have no case there. And Skunk Monkey hates Ralph too. So don't you think it's a conflict of interest if you're covering a story to only quote Ralph's enemies? Like if we're gonna get really cucky on the ethics and in games journalism shit, he quoted right after another three sources that dislike Ralph.
And there's just no reason for it. You can just quote the sources directly.
Exactly.
Like,
why would he quote these three people? All he's doing is pushing these three people. Why would he do that?
I don't know. I mean, like, there's a lot of times, like, in the story, like, very rarely do you really want someone's statement if they're just unrelated to the story. Like, it's part tech. It's just a bunch of people just promoting each other.
I'm sorry, can you repeat
Like,
that? I intentionally cut you off there because I was listening to the stream to make sure we weren't cutting off. Lucifer, I listened to the stream a bit. We're not cutting off, bro. I think it's just you in this case. Okay, so I kind of threw you off there, and I don't know where I cut, so I'm sorry. Okay, let me.
The reason why he's quoting these people is he's looking for a lazy way to promote his friends. Is my interpretation of this.
Exactly.
Or he's
you promote me today, I'll promote you tomorrow. That's how it works. That's simple enough, John. Now, question for you. Let's keep reading it because why not, right? This next paragraph, I know you have an issue with it. I know I have a fucking issue with it. Rev has become infamously reviled in some circles of #Gamergate due to the hit pieces targeting people like Liana Kurzer, the house nigger Oliver Campbell, and other so-called #Gamergate e-celebs, for one reason or another. While there was a time when wrongdoing, including pointing out in a report that Brianna Wu was still giving interviews from home while claiming to have fled away from terror from #Gamergate, the extremist nature of the Ralph retort, there it is, that fucking word, extremist, the Ralph retort ended up pushing a lot of moderates away. Good. Moderates are fucking cancer. Look at Kotaku in action and you will know what I'm talking about. I did a video about this motherfucking shit that V. Monroe went after and his little cuck squad went after because it told the truth about moderates. Okay, but the way that he puts it, like Liana Kursner, Oliver Campbell, they didn't do nothing. Okay, one reason or another. No, in both of those scenarios, he was right. Okay, more people, including myself and Kelly, have written about these two people or talked about these two people because they're shit. Liana Kursner used the mentally ill as a shield to defend her shitty fucking actions. Okay, I have 3 videos up about that. Oliver, the house nigger Campbell, was one of the driving forces against boycotts. The only fucking the only fucking tool consumers have against businesses in the establishment. These people are garbage. And he immediately puts it as, well, Ralph is just writing hit pieces for one reason or another. Hit pieces, which automatically has a stigma and implies that, oh, it's not true, it's trash. And he was useful once upon a time, but he's not useful to Gamergate anymore. Motherfucker, the people on your own side have declared Gamergate dead. Okay, these motherfuckers need to make up their mind. They can't love people like Sargon of Akkad and uphold him as Mr. Ethics, and then uphold the fact that, well, Gamergate's still going, bro. Well, no. This guy that you love and promote and push has said that it's dead. So you have to pick one. Okay? They want to have their cake and eat it too, and it's disgusting, and it pisses me the fuck off. Okay? So I know you have things to say about that paragraph. Kelly, go ahead.
No, yeah, it's basically just it's a straw man. That's basically what it is. It's basically like, oh, well, not even a straw man. Even it's just lying about the reality of the situation. Like Ralph has done a lot. Has, like you said, has burnt a lot of these people, but they've never left. They've always still been around. They don't go away. They can still talk. He's not silencing them. There's and he's not. And as you pointed out earlier, he's not even all that much of an extremist. Like Usher is just making this all up for the most part out of whole cloth. And this whole idea that Ralph didn't have any reason for going after these people, just nonsense. And also, I don't see why he's defending these two people like you said either. I mean, like you've already gone into like Liana Kirsner's bullshit with like using the mentally ill and ill to back up to defend herself from lies and stuff like that. But Oliver Campbell himself is a liar. He lied about me, for instance. He also got a games censor. Don't forget that. And I'm aware he apologized for it, but unlike other journalists,
He
he doesn't get
fucking
a mention
censored
on
me in his
Deep
stream for talking about Sargon. He kicked me
Yeah,
and blocked me from his stream because you don't talk about my boy Sargon here. Oh my God! Stop red pilling people. Go away. And what I find really sleazy, and I find the problem with all these quote unquote movements, and we'll talk about the alt-right later, is that when you start allowing special snowflakes, when you start allowing exceptions in, you're gonna get fucked. If you
and
if you allow
anyone
yourself,
saying that
go ahead.
And anyone saying that Oliver Campbell was just like, oh no, he's above that sort of nonsense. No, that's bullshit. The first thing he wrote when he got into Gamergate was when a black games journalist commented on Gamergate. He pushed his identity and this image of him being an angry
And
black
that's
dude.
exactly the point. I'm going to stop you right there. That's exactly the point I'm making. They allowed liberals into Gamergate under the caveat that SJWs are extremist liberals. The second you do that, you allow that mentality to wiggle in, you will be diluted. And you will get what we call moderates, okay? Liberals are the problem. There's no such thing as SJW. It's just liberals, okay? They're consistent with that ideology. Everything that they promote, they've been pushing for years. Go back and look at fucking the speeches from Democratic candidate after Democratic candidate, and Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, fucking Hillary now. Just go back and in history, and you will see they always talk about discrimination. They always talk about this. They always talk about that. It's the same points being raised today, just with more pretty dress on. So these people were allowed in, and they fucked up that movement to the point that Gamergate is now it actually hurts the industry at this point because it's promoting frauds who don't give a shit about this industry, like Milo Yiannopoulos, who never gave a shit about gaming and has become fucking famous and rich off of that idea that he does care about gamers when the motherfucker was quoting Gawker back in the day, quoting them and using them as a source rather than criticizing them when it came to video games cause violence or whatever. I don't remember if it was that or the sex thing.
No, you got it right.
Oh, I got it right. So violence. Okay. So
Yeah.
these motherfuckers were allowed in. And here's the best part. I'm going to read the rest of the article. Sadly, the pitbull nature of Ralph's reporting, gaining him both followers and critics alike, everything will gain you followers and critics alike. Sargon has critics and followers alike. So is he a pit bull? Is that it? I mean, that entire sentence is pure character assassination. Okay? That sucks. Ended up seeing him as the outlet being compared to sites like Gawker.com, which is now defunct. What purpose does that paragraph have other than comparing him to Gawker and saying you're Gawker and you're going to go out of business unless you're a little bit more moderate? And here's the best part. Where exactly are we talking about the story? Okay, we talked a little bit about it in the beginning. Okay, let's highlight. Let's do some highlights, okay? Here's the story right here. This is the story, okay? This is a story, part of the story. He was arrested, blah, blah, blah. The tracking developments, all this. This can be considered the story, repeating it over and over again. What is all this doing here? What is all this doing here? Let's read the rest. Ralph's arrest was triggered when the police found him asleep and drunk at the Holiday Park Doctor location. Okay. When they attempted to wake him up, he apparently assaulted the police officers, which led to his arrest, according to the London County Sheriff's Daily Report. This is all you needed to tell the story. You didn't need the write-up by this cuck. You didn't need cuck in action. You didn't need this tweet. You just needed this. This tells the entire story. You're done. All the rest of this shit is padding. Now, again, here we go. Gaymetrics, it's Gaymetrics, excuse me, is reporting there's a potential $2,500 fine, up to 6 months in jail, and a minimum mandatory sentence, and a potential maximum of jail time of 5 years if he is convicted. I can even excuse this, okay? Here you go. There's the story. There's all that's relevant in this story. Done. I just saved you having to read through this entire shit. That's the story, and you're done. So this entire shit of saying he was arrested, look at him as being a terrible, terrible extremist. Why is he linking the two? So wait a minute. Am I going to be arrested in a lobby for assaulting police officers because I'm an extremist? Is because I'm a Gamergate extremist according to these people too. Am I going to get arrested too? Is that like, is it inevitable that I
How
will
many
become
right-wing death squads do you command, Variloh?
I command about 19. Now keep
A
in
19?
mind that's only temporary because Ben Garrison will find my spick ass and he will end me.
Oh, well, then, I think you can get away with it with the minority card because Ben Garrison tends to carry those rather handily.
He certainly is nice to us minorities. Um, so, okay, what are your closing thoughts on this? Because I'm going to move on to the next topic.
I just want to point out that like there's two of these. We didn't really have time to get together. One it mainly went to some of the stuff about the leadership semantics I went to, but in this next one he references Liana K, Netscape 9, and a Kotaku in action thread. Because why
What are
the
you
hell
talking
not?
about? In this same article or is it another article?
No, there's another article.
There's
Yeah,
a
he
no,
actually
we're gonna
references-
then we're gonna do it. Give me the
Okay.
archive. He wrote a
All right, I got
second
it.
article about this.
Yes, he did.
So wait a minute, something that can be summed up in these highlight parodies. He wrote a second fucking article. You have
Yep.
to be joking. This,
I'm
holy
not.
shit. He talks about Gawker. Holy shit, man. My
Yeah,
God.
it's
Tell me there's
now
a good
to be
excuse.
fair.
So, Daily Dot, Raw
Okay.
Story, Business Insider falsely claim Ralph is the leader of Gamergate.
Now, to be fair, if he was just to write the story about the media narrative and focus on that, I really wouldn't have too much of a problem with it. But he goes into the character assassination and then he just fucks it up. Like that's where it goes into like, okay, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, what's the point of this other than just to promote KA's bullshit? To be frank.
Okay, so I didn't know about this. I'm going to read it. The media is currently running a false. You can read half of it too, when I get tired and stop spicking it up. The media is currently running a false narrative about hashtag Gamergate, the movement that is dead according to their leaders, and the recent arrest of blogger Ethan Ralph from the RalphReport.com. They're claiming that Ethan Ralph was a leader of the hashtag Gamergate movement, and that it was all about harassing women. The truth of the matter is that Gamergate is a leaderless movement. The Wikipedia article, in all its biased intentions, still attributes a consumer revolt against unethical journalists as a leaderless movement, blah, 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 Wikipedia. The descriptive block was even pulled from Jesse Singal's, is that Jewish? Jesse Singal's piece that was published in October 20th, 2014 in the New York Magazine, where the writer, despite being against Gamergate, still admits that it's a leaderless movement. Additionally, the notable outlets have also reiterated the same thing, that the movement is leaderless. Eric Kane, a contributor of Ford's, wrote on the August 21st, 2015, he wrote this, I'm not going to read it. So then how does a grassroots movement go from being recognized by mainstream and enthusiast press as being a leaderless movement to having Ethan Ralph as a leader? In this case, Ethan Ralph, from the Ralph Report, was arrested on multiple charges of assault and disorderly conduct after he was found drunk in a lobby of a hotel. Brianna Wu did an article on the Daily Dot with the headline titled, Gamergate Leader Arrested to 2 counts of felony by the police officer, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
David Ferguson wrote from Raw Story, picked up the news from the Daily Dot, reiterating the headline from Wu's article, but also avoids directly inferring that Ralph was the leader in the article itself, writing, a notorious alt-right troll from Virginia who played a major role in the harassment of women in the video game industry was arrested in late August after he drunkenly passed out in a hotel lobby, then assaulted a sheriff's deputy when he came to. Ben Gilbert, a former member of the game journal Pros, wrote an article for Business Insider with the headline, a prominent leader of Gamergate was arrested on charge of assaulting a police officer. The article itself avoids calling Ralph a leader, but instead states one of Gamergate's most prominent voices, Ethan Ralph, was arrested recently on 2 counts of assault on law enforcement and count of obstruction of justice. Now,
What's
he goes
wait,
on
wait,
to
wait,
cite-
wait, 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 wait. What's the problem? Do they now get triggered with Gamergate's most prominent voices? I mean, they've used that. They've used that same phrasing when talking about Sargon. They've used that same fucking phrasing. Now it's not okay because it's Ralph. Is it that they don't want Ralph to be prominent? Is that the shit? No, he's just a small group of harassers. He's terrible. Is that what we're going with now?
Pretty much. Oh, wait, I just realized something. I forgot a source that Archer cites. He actually cites Mark from V in this article. The one who lives in an autism home.
Wait. It's not a secret that I have heat with some people over on 8chan.com. The person who runs V is a shithead who puts my links on archive, and we all know about the Baphomet stuff. So that's Ralph in one of his articles.
Yeah, it's it's basically like I just like this is the first part half of the
Oh my god,
story.
listen to this. Ralph is now mostly highly regarded by a group known as GG Revolt, who felt as if Gamergate was too soft in its approach. The GG Revolt group managed to catch the ire of 8chan, Kotaku in Action, and Twitter factions of the Gamergate Kotaku in Action, of the Gamergate of hashtag Gamergate, excuse me, with Kotaku in Action labeling GG Revolt as the anti hashtag Gamergate.
Wait a
Kotaku
minute, this feels like
Kotaku in
this
Action
reads.
regular Netscape 9 summed up Ralph's disassociation from Gamergate by writing, Ralph is a muckraker whose website got put on a blacklist after he published articles attacking the friends and family of a Gamergate supporter who killed herself. Remember Lily Fang. Revolt, Revolt are mostly a mixture of trolls and actual extremists who think Gamergate should become a far-right extremist and purge Gamergate of anyone who holds a moderate left-wing or even center-right views. Revolt and Ralph are made for each other. So wait a minute. We go from pushing Gamergate is a leaderless movement to we have people who can kick others out of the movement. Isn't there a fucking contradiction there?
Also, this feels like I'm back in 2014, listening to King of Pole, making fun of a journalist writing some stupid shit about Gamergate, and everyone just laughing at it. Like, I think it was specifically one that mentioned that Gamergate had warlords, or factions, or tribes, or something like that. Yeah, it was tribes. And Sox was on stream with King of Pole, and Sox was like, "Oh, can I be a warlord now?" Well, apparently
You
we've
can.
accepted that mentality. Yeah.
Holy shit. I mean, Netscape 9 has been proven time and time again to be a liar and to be a white knight for Sargon. Like, I'm still waiting for my apology from him because Sargon admitted he doesn't give a shit about game dev, which was one of the caveats Netscape requested. I mean, we can't predict intention. Well, we can now. Sargon's explicitly stated it. So, holy shit, Usher. I mean, I'm not going to finish reading this. This is just too cocked. Give me a conclusion about this shit because he's garbage.
What I have to say is that I just don't know what to say. It's kind of like okay, like again, there's been problems with Usher that I've seen in the past. I've seen him do this KA bullshit where he'll basically get public opinion by seeing what some KA commenters have said, including the article and stuff like that, which was fairly sloppy on him. I've also seen him do the promotion thing, which is also sloppy on him. I also think that the SBJ thing was a mistake for him to get involved in, but I think that. If I'm not mistaken, he has actually actually said things against the SBJ since then. So that one's a bit more forgivable. But this is like coming like this is I just this is like going from slightly blue pill to just full on cuck and control opposition. I just don't know what's going on in his head. And just by standards of journalism, this is just terrible. I really hope that he just issues an apology at some point because this is really below standard from what I'm used to reading from him. And I I'd prefer he I just wish he'd stay to the facts and stay the hell away from KA for that matter. Like, yeah.
Well, John, I mean, it's a good thing that we've wrapped this up. It's a good thing we wrapped this up. But I do have to ask you a very important question.
Oh.
What time is it?
Occurring to it's about 6:30.
No, motherfucker, it's Sargon o'clock, motherfucker. Get the fuck in there. Just when I
Oh
think I'm
shit.
done with this motherfucker, he pulls me back in. Holy motherfucking shit. Giving people a small goddamn recap. We got Sargon, the man, the myth, the legend. We had finished his game dev career. We had annihilated it, right? Lives of Necromancer had come up, and you have the article in the description of this thing. Lives of Necromancer had come up. It had been shown that the most fucking important level of Necromancer was actually a free asset that he got off of the Unity fucking store, the Unity store, that Sargon hates. He absolutely hates. We had exposed that shit. He had obviously canceled his game, and he came on in a rampage of hate and anger and butthurt, and actually yelled that he doesn't give a shit about game dev, which oy vey. We were done. So I had left it. I was done. So let me tell you the story of how this comes back into my life, how it happens again. I mean, when I think I'm done, it just drags me right the back in. as I've told people, I'm starting a business, and right now we've been working for a couple of weeks on a GDD document, a game dev document. Okay, we have a project that we have to turn in to get the master's degree title that I've been working on. That project has captured the interest of a certain investor that obviously I'm not going to reveal who because fuck KIA. Um, and we've had to make this document and been going over stuff, and we made the decision that we're not going to hire an artist. We talked to a bunch of different modelers and 2D concept artists, and we decided we're not going to get them. We have a couple who might be doing props, but for the majority of the game, we're going to buy it. We're going to buy it because we have a limited deadline, and we want to show the thing as soon as possible, okay? So something you have to do when you're preparing a GDD is you have to look at all of the possible art that you can incorporate into the game. It can't just be like, well, we'll buy the art. No, you have to delimit, okay, these are the things we're going to buy. These are a few that we're still mixed on, okay? Depending on what we're doing. So me and my girlfriend were sitting there. I was looking at environments. Now you guys have kind of a clue as to why I found the Sargon environment thing to begin with. But we're looking at things. I'm looking at props and music and effects. I'm also talking to the guy who's going to be doing the music. I'm doing that. And my girlfriend, she's looking at models. She's looking at the models for the game. And at one point, we get together, we get together once a week. And we talk about this. We live together. What I mean is that we get together to talk about the game. We sit together in the office, and we talk about the game. She's like, okay, so I found a few models that you might be interested in. I'm like, okay, shoot. We're talking about a scene where we have to kill a mage. The whole point is to kill a fucking mage who's going to be kind of like the semi-boss, right? This mini-boss. And she shows me a few of them, and I'm going through each of them. And then she shows me, like, well, I have one that's kind of controversial. Because it's kind of out there, okay? It's kind of weird, but you might like it. You might fucking like it. And she shows me this. And this is the moment where I'm supposed to show the window, but obviously the window bugs out, so I'm going to have to add it again. So that fucking ruins my immersion. There you go. She shows me this. It's just like, it's relatively cheap. It's just 16 bucks. I mean, you know, it looks pretty good. It's got some nice animations. You can change the color. When she says this, I get a massive erection. Okay? I'm massive fucking bonage happen. I mean, I looked at this. I went through and I confirmed, and I just jizzed. There's semen everywhere at this point when I saw this shit, okay?
Wasn't that image floated around?
Shut the fuck up,
when...
John Kelly. Shut the fuck up. So I'm looking at this, and there's jizz everywhere. My girlfriend is shocked. She's like, holy shit, it's not 9 o'clock. I don't know why you're jizzing at this time. But I'm dripping in semen looking at this. It's great. I mean, I have to change my pants and everything because you guys might be looking at this and saying, what the fuck is this? Okay? Why does Variloh have massive bonage? Well, because, my friends, this is Sargon's main character. Now, some of you might be going, well, okay, wait a minute, what's wrong with that? Sargon, when he came on past stream, Kelly, do you have that link, or we'll just link it in post?
I depends on the link. I have one of them I have one link available.
No, the one where he talks. Well, you'll see. He comes off on stream, and when I'm showing him this environment, saying you allegedly commissioned not one but 2 fucking modelers, and your environment, the most important one, the one which your logo is created off of, is a free fucking asset. It's not even paid. And he's like, well, we hired the artist to do the models. Okay, that's what he insinuates. I'm paraphrasing. A reminder, he used, he pretty much confirmed. I don't know if he actually said yes, you're right. We just asked what's wrong with using the free models. There you go. I think these are even updated versions, to be honest. So he uses these things, right? This asset for his main level, his most distinctive level, right? And he says, well, I paid the artist to do the models. Well, motherfucker, let's look at the video that the company, which is called Many Worlds, might I add. Let's look at the video that they link. You see that right there? You see that art? Does it look familiar? Does that picture look familiar in any chance? So,
wait, as I was saying, this is the same image that was floated around to the press with the coverage that Sargon claims never got.
So this is his model, motherfuckers.
like, did he premeditate having to create this much, like,
No, I mean,
did he just,
no. Let's keep looking at it. Watch how you can low poly mesh 1800 polygon. It's a good offset, by the way. Yes, I have. No, I haven't purchased it. I will be purchasing it, and it will be a killable mob in my game at the very least, because I get off at the idea of people killing Sargon's main character in my game. It comes with all the animations, so no rigging required. So you don't need an artist or a modeler for that. And death animations and everything. Fucking fantastic. So, oh, I just jizzed again. And, okay, so here's the next interesting thing. If you guys remember, the story of Necromancer was that he originally had this Italian dude who was working with him, right? Everybody remembers the Italian dude. He was working with him, and then he left, and that forced him to drop those models and use a new dude, okay? This Italian guy called Giuseppe, right? And he had to stop using those models because the guy ran away with the money, according to Sargon, right? Well, this asset has been with them from the beginning, okay? And if you go to the Necromancer Facebook and you take a quick gander and you look at the image, he says, well, art by by Many Worlds. He links Many Worlds, saying that the concept art was made by them. He, of course, never links that the models were also made by them. He just bought them. But I digress. Okay, and it's the same model he's been using. And people go, well, this is old. This is 2014. This is Many Worlds' website, by the way. Fuck that shit. Let's take a look at the reboot and progress, what images he shows in the fucking reboot. That seems pretty fucking familiar to me, boys and girls. So he's never changed that particular model. So now, riddle me fucking this. Riddle me this. The motherfucker claims that he got not one, but two artists. They're not doing the environments because the main level, at the very least, is free. You hire two modelers to create just the characters, which is fine. That's actually pretty common, especially in indies, just to do the models. Except you don't want them to do the main character. Really, mate? Seriously? Really? I mean, that makes no fucking sense. And here's the icing on the shit cake. Here is a fucking little piece from Sargon of Akkad's Necromancer discussion with me. We're going to listen to 1 minute of it. I want you guys to listen to it because it's very important.
We've actually got a product that we can go to Kickstarter with and try and get backing for. And we do, and we're successful. And then he turns around and says, look, now I just want to quit and take some money and run.
This is talking about
and
you.
So we're like, okay, well, we will just not use your models and use the money to commission other artists to make models that we currently have in there.
Then that should have been done rather quickly, no?
No, not at all. It takes quite a long time to then find new artists and then commission
Your
them
game
to
is in
make
Unity,
models.
isn't it?
Yeah.
The Unity store has a bunch of
So
assets
what?
for
I don't
sale.
give a fuck what's on the Unity store, man.
He doesn't give a fuck what's on the Unity store, man! Mate, what's wrong with you? Fucking noob! What about that Unity store, mate? I don't like that Unity store, mate! What the fuck? You Unity store, what do you think, I'm a pleb? It takes a long time to make models that are now in there. We've dropped Giuseppe's models, where you got two new artists, two new modelers, who, it takes a long fucking time. Then he goes back on that position and says, no, it was actually done pretty quickly. We had to make new models which are now in the game. Mate, what's wrong with you? I mean, the main character's still the same, even from before Giuseppe, because we bought that shit. But, mate, fuck the Unity store. He doesn't give a fuck about the Unity store. What, do you think he's gonna go on the Unity store and purchase his main motherfucking character? Fuck your shit, son. What's wrong with you? Damn. So,
is it possible that maybe Sargon just never had a hand in the game altogether, considering all the, inaccurate
surprises?
to say, yeah, like maybe his buddy was the one who worked on it, just didn't want to work on it, and they just use him as a mouthpiece because this voice that could sell a product. Like, it's speculative.
I've been very careful to speculate on Sargon. I've said a lot of things about his game, but I've been very careful to speculate. I'm going to come out and say it right now. I believe that based off of the inconsistencies, based off of the fact that the main level of the game was a free asset, and the main character is a 16 euro fucking model, based off of the fact that he's clearly lied over and over again, I would not be surprised if a portion or the majority of the money was not used toward the game and was used on other things like maybe buying his YouTube equipment or whatever. I would not be fucking surprised. I'm putting that claim out there right now. And if 4 or 5 diggers want to go out there and look at places like the Google 3D Warehouse, which is a place where people get their models from, the Unity store, and look for the rest of his models, because those models, the Warrior ones, look really fucking familiar. Okay, go on Mixamo and stuff like that, and look for those fucking models. I will almost bet money that all, if not all, the majority of Sargon's assets, you can find them out there. I mean, right now we have enough. We have enough to make the level 1 of Sargon's Necromancer game, and it'll set you back 16.21 euros. That's what it'll set you back. So the question I have now is, the main character wasn't made by the modelers that he quote-unquote commissioned. The Giuseppe didn't fucking make it either, okay? Because he's claiming that this guy ran away with money, but he didn't make the model either, okay? He clearly didn't make the fucking models either, because that model and the cemetery were both Unity store assets, okay? You have a guy who's lying about the Unity store, saying he doesn't give a fuck about the Unity store, okay? He's not going to look at that. He wants his own fucking models. And you know what? Let's play a little bit more of that video just so he doesn't cry that I'm taking it out of context.
No, but you can give a fuck about the artists who are there. There's an entire repertoire of people who have developed art that is used in Unity.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they're open for commission.
That doesn't mean they're open for commission, guys. It's not like these artists. You can go to their fucking websites and find emails and shit right here where you can go ahead and talk to them. I mean, Many Worlds, he links to the website himself. This is what I was actually looking for. Yeah, that's why I had the website up. But he links to the website himself in his own Facebook thing, mate. So, again, Sargon has been caught in so many lies that I wouldn't be surprised that the money he was given to make a game that he never made was actually instead used for other things, like maybe paying for advertisement for himself to boost himself on Twitter or YouTube, buying fucking equipment, or, and here's a real possibility, using it to buy cereal for his wife's daughter. Because remember, he's a literal cuck.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this shit just keeps coming to me. I swear to God, I wasn't looking for this. I wasn't even the one who found it. It was my girlfriend who was like, "What do you think about this?" And yes, we will be purchasing this just so you can kill Sargon's main character in the game that we're going to be putting out. Just so you guys know that. Fuck it. I'm considering putting it on multiple games just to fuck with Sargon. So,
But he doesn't care about game dev.
also true. He does not care about game dev. His fucking words. Kelly, what are your
That means
comments
your
on
point
this
is-
thing? Because I have blown my load everywhere at this point. So, what do you think about this?
I think it's just it's like once you think that all the pieces of the skeleton that's been unearthed from this closet have been put together, you find yet more pieces to it, and it's just a case of where this guy he had like it's clear to me there's either one of two possibilities here. Either he had absolutely no intention of ever finishing a game, and he just did this just for self-promotion stuff, like you speculated before, which is one possibility. Or the other possibility is he's just this much of a retard where he doesn't know what he wants to do in life. So he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to make a game, and he just has this as a whimsy all of a sudden. And then when he doesn't know what to do once he starts dabbling in it, and he's just that stupid. And then when he's caught, instead of just owning up to the fact that he's a retard when it comes to video game creation, which he clearly is at this point, he just doubles down and lies just to save his image, and he completely fucking fails at it, which is why he's just completely backed off. And he surrounded himself with sycophants who suck his cock all day and will praise him blindly and regardless, and they just basically buy his bullshit. So he can just say some. So what he'll do is he'll just, when you call him out on some mistake he made, he'll play dumb, and then he'll basically, try to get the other person to re-explain themselves as they're baffled as to how someone could be that stupid as to play dumb in response to that, and then they'll just dismiss them, and then his audience will cheer, and then he'll pat himself on the back, while the smart people go, "Are you fucking nuts?" And unfortunately, this strategy of his has diminishing returns because he's got himself into a number of controversies lately that have nothing to do with this or Gamergate, and every time he looks stupider and stupider and stupider. Like, he can't comment in academia anymore after that. I'm going to ban all social justice from the universities because that blew up in his face. He can't comment on politics anymore ever since, he started...
Bernie Sanders
elections.
supporter.
Yeah, after that incident. And he can't comment on economics anymore after, after he actually went up against an actual economicist who he caught off guard with his rhetorical bullshit I mentioned earlier. And then he just basically... This guy breaks him down point by point as to why he's wrong. Now that particular video that I'm talking about, I think it's called Sargonism or something like that, or some. It could have been better presented, but I would recommend looking for those of you who have like a couple hours to kill. Watch it for the particulars when he dismantles his rhetoric because he brings up some good points that other people have not been pointing out before that I've noticed. It's hard to put into words because it's just so twisted on his part. It's like really Sargon is the definition of mental gymnastics.
Oh, my God. I just. Oof, I'm tired. I need a nap now after spreading my load. But we still have two more topics. I'm just going to reiterate that Sargon is a fraud. He's a con man. And when I put this video up separately as just this segment, I want somebody to send it to him. Because every day that passes, I mean, he should just come out and talk about his lie. Because it's clear to me, what did he spend his money on? Like,
Variloh. It's not like someone's just going to be watching the stream and it's just going to take that particular video you just pointed out and post it a bunch of, I don't know, DM groups, Skype groups, Discord groups, and just spread it everywhere all over the place. And just to get Sargon's attention. I mean, that would be conspiratorial, man.
that would be pretty conspiratorial. And I'd have to admonish anybody who does that. Centipede.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just to me, it's obvious that this motherfucker pocketed the cash. Him and his buddy split the cash and pocketed it, because what did he spend the money on? Like I bought the Unity license. Yeah, you bought a product that after the project is done, you can continually use for yourself. Like that's not something the public should pay for. That's something you should pay for. Like he really thinks that saying I bought Unity Pro with the fucking money makes him look good. It doesn't. It's terrible. It's like saying I'm gonna make sandwiches, but you guys not only have to pay for the bread, cheese, and ham, but you guys also have to pay for a fucking oven so that I can fucking grill it. A stove, excuse me, so I can grill it. You're gonna keep the stove afterwards, motherfucker. So, this guy is just shit.
But Variloh, he made reparations. Like he gave refunds out. That totally justifies him spending the money on his own personal needs because it's like a long-term loan that he just asked the public for, who were generous enough
It's
to
a
give him the money
loan
for
in
said
which the
loan.
public isn't aware that they're loaning it so that this fucking lazy cuck can try to push himself on YouTube or other medium. The public gave him money for a purpose. He used that money on something else. Returning the money doesn't make him any less of a liar and any less of a con. Assuming most of those people even know where he's around anyway.
Do we even have proof that refunds were given out? He could just be saying that, and then people are like, "Oh yeah, he gave refunds."
Wait. Are you saying that he could just be saying that in the same way he just said that he hired two artists / modelers to make new characters for him?
I'm saying that there's absolutely no proof or evidence that he gave out a single refund.
Well, that's because the people don't want it.
Oh, so he's a charity case then?
People can do whatever they want with their money. # libertarian.
Well, it doesn't sound like libertarianism. It sounds more like socialism. I mean, he has benefited quite well from the
Stop
state.
it, John Kelly. Now, because the chat has gone into a Spanish frenzy after dropping the Sargon bombs, I think we're going to move on to another topic. And you talked about DM groups. You talked about Skype groups. That segues great into one of your favorite topics, John Kelly Rose. We're going to talk about DDM and the Greek rapists again.
Oh.
Now,
Two of my favorite groups in this whole thing.
Dude.
I love those two groups.
Now, we're going to talk about these motherfuckers, but there's some things that we haven't discussed in the final deletion. And these fuckers are still around, still being slimy, so I think it's time we slap them on the head again and remind them that there are bitches. Now, we're going to ignore the fact that a guy called Anthony ran from Mr. Medicare's stream after accepting going on said stream in the same way Koro and Fuzztail did. We're going to ignore that. And instead we're going to talk about a guy called Theodore. You guys know him as Thidrin. But we need to kind of tell the public who this guy is because a lot of people have come up to me in private and asked me, okay, so I know what you're saying about DDM is true, but I don't really know who these people are. Explain to me a little bit who's this Thidrin guy. So Kelly Rose, I don't think there's anyone better to explain who the fuck Thidrin really is in real life to the public than you.
Oh, his real life? Like that.
This is the part where you start
that
sending me
sounds.
the sources and I show them on screen.
Oh, okay. Hold on 1 second. Um, Digger in real life is kind of like, it's kind of like kicking a baby when he's down. The guy grew up in a broken household, like completely. This is all things he's made very apparent, publicly available. He even said in a KA post, which I'll link you that one right away,
Can you link me the
that you can
article
just look
that
this.
talks about him and his family?
Sure. Just give me 1 second.
Mhm.
Um, it's so it's not like he's like trying to hide any of this or this is any kind of personal stuff.
You're clearly about to dox him, John Kelly Rose.
Well, I could dox him, but I don't think that would be necessary. Like
And
this is the KA post where he basically says to just Google my sister's name, which we'll get to that in a second. Um, specific. If I'm taking a bit long, it's because there's been a bunch of coverage on this particular event. Basically, the gist of it is Thidrin's sister, Samantha Morgan Major, is a violent murderess. She went full mental was mental at the age of like 24, 21 back in 2003. She went ahead, found this guy called Brett Kinney, who was this mentally disabled man by all accounts. And because apparently she owed him like some less than $300, she and her crazy demented boyfriend, who was apparently like Francis Dykeman Jr., they went ahead and they did some really heinous shit to this guy. And this led to some very telling things coming out about Thidrin's home life.
before we
Like,
keep going, some people are saying in the chat that you can't dox. You can't dox, bro. And on the money, the second we started talking about Thidrin, a certain Anon showed up to defend his honor. But here's the best part. As you said, Kelly, these are all things that have been put out in the public by Thidrin himself.
that he encouraged other people to look up, by the way.
So here we have him saying, you guys can read that on screen, but just leave that up. I want the article in particular because I want to get into because you're saying his sister was a murderer. I want that article. You know the
All
one.
right. Let me see if I think I do know which one you're talking about. Yeah. Give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Right here. This is taken from a newspaper from Thidrin's local area.
Okay, let's open that up. Okay, keep talking.
Yeah. But like as it was revealed in the court case, Thidrin does not come from a house this guy has never had any kind of success in his entire life. It's pretty much been for the entirety of his living conditions it's just really been a case of where he grew up in a household that has contained 10 children, only one of which has no criminal record. The other 9 have some sort of charges, including including one of which were murder, torture, kidnapping. And Thidrin himself, well, we'll get to that in a second. He's basically reportedly, according to the court cases, which I think this is the article in question. It's the question, like, the problem isn't that I don't have the source. The problem is I have so many of them, I just don't know which one to present first.
Okay, wait. Let's sum it up. Let's sum it up real quick because you're kind of all over the place. So, Theodore Morgan Major, who is Thidrin, his sister is a murderer, convicted, correct?
Yep.
And that's the article we're reading here. Let's read the article real quick, and then we can talk about it. If you want, you can. When I get tired of spicking it up, you can continue reading as well. So, confession played in death penalty trial. Prosecutors seeking the death penalty against a woman accused of killing a brain-damaged and physically disabled man in May 2004 rested their case Tuesday by playing more of a woman's taped confession. In the statement made 2 days after leading the police to Brent Kindred's body, 24-year-old Samantha Morgan Major told authorities the details of the attack on Kinney, which lasted more than 40 hours. Morgan Major said she and co-defendant John Francis Dykeman Jr. beat, strangled, and stabbed Kinley. She said they also tried to inject an air bubble into a vein in his neck, and they left him in a freezer before he decided to take him to a graveyard. We went out there and he just wouldn't die, Morgan Major told the police. John picks up a big rock and just crunches it on his head. On Monday, prosecutors told Circuit Judge Roger Young that Morgan Major and Dykeman tortured Kinley, presenting the shovel, syringe, knife, and other things used to try and kill Kinley as evidence. After stabbing him in the back, Morgan Major and Dykeman stuffed Kinley in a truck while they drove around using his ATM card, according to a portion of Morgan Major's confession heard on Monday. I killed a guy over $240, Morgan Major said in the tape statement, giggling. Isn't that just sick? Investigators became suspicious when Morgan Major returned Kinley's cell phone and ATM card to the man's family. Morgan Major would later confess the crime, leading investigators to Kinley's body. She also showed them a knife used to stab Kinley and the bloody jeans she was wearing. Beaufort County Sheriff's Office, testifying. Morgan Major pleaded guilty in January to murder, meaning Young will decide whether she gets life in prison or the death penalty. So that's pretty much all we have on the sister. So she's a murderer and a sick individual.
Yep. And the reason why that's relevant is because of the household that she lived in. If you'd like, I can read the second one. This is the one I was looking for, because it tells of Thidron's background.
Okay, give me that one. I'll show it on screen. And we're
All right.
operating under the assumption that this is all legit, right?
It is legit because all right, there is a slight possibility that all this is a bunch of bullshit that Thidron decided to make up, and he basically based his internet presence around his persona, and just so happened to have certain events in his life in the course of 2014, 2015 coincide with this character that he created. But if you're to do that, he would have to have gotten up really early in the AM, and he'd have to basically completely impersonate someone else. And the connections with his family members in particular, he'd also have to credit a bunch of SOX counts for. So this whole thing being an elaborate hoax is such a low possibility that's almost nil.
Even if it is a hoax, it's pretty sick of him to do.
Agreed, because this isn't a case of where it's just one newspaper reporting. This is like a dozen different sources that are all over the place, including well-resourced books. So
read the new article, 2006. In the Island packet.
Yep. Defense. Family and incubator of crime. A dysfunctional family life devoid of love or structure, untreated psychiatric disorders, and substance abuse starting at 9 years old are some of the reasons confessed murderer Samantha Morgan Major turned to crime and violence. Witness for her defense testified Wednesday at the Beaufort County Courthouse. Morgan Major, 24, faces the death penalty after pleading guilty in January to the May 2004 beating and death of Brett Kinney, a brain-damaged and physically disabled Beaufort man. The defense began Wednesday its argument that though Morgan Major did rarely admit to the murder, mitigating circumstances in her life should compel Circuit Court Judge Roger Young to spare her life. According to his evaluation of Morgan Major, her family, and her records, Charleston social worker Jeff Youngman said she displayed a high number of risk factors for violence since birth. You could expect that without intervention, there'd be violence. Yeah.
Morgan Major became...
Okay,
sorry, go ahead.
You could expect that without intervention there'd be violence, he said. Morgan Major became agitated at the beginning of Youngman's testimony into her past, though throwing her arms around and causing the court to recess for about half an hour. In his assessment, Youngman looked at the factors, including her mother's refusal to abort Morgan Major against doctors' advice during a difficult pregnancy. Now, just to pause right there, doctors were telling Thidron's mom not to reproduce. Just think about the implications of that. Anyway, Morgan Major's lack of formal education past middle school, claims of physical and sexual abuse, and the fact both her parents and all but one of her 9 siblings have been arrested. The Morgan Major family in general is an extremely dysfunctional family with complete lack of parental supervision and lack of stability, he said. Her biological father robbed banks to support his coke habit and is now incarcerated. Her mother would send her away to live somewhere every time she caused trouble, and Morgan Major claimed her stepfather physically abused her, Yeoman said. Morgan Major showed aggressive and violent behavior at an early age by trying to burn her brother with a lighter and biting him in the stomach. And she started being arrested for assault by age 12, the age she was expelled from school, Yeoman said. Now, I'm just going to pause here again because I'm pretty sure that the younger brother is actually Theodore himself. And the reason this is because if you actually listen to the video where he threatened to where this motherfucker decided to threaten to visit my house, he basically complains about his poor eye condition. So I'm pretty sure that Samantha actually did burn his eye. And that's, again, why I'm saying that this idea that this is just a fake story, I severely doubt that.
Okay, go ahead.
Back to where I was. However, though Morgan Major had been diagnosed with behavioral disorders, Yeoman said the only intervention she received to try to exchange her actions was through arrest. The chaos of her childhood made Morgan Major, who started drinking and smoking cigarettes at 9 years old, turn to drugs, said Alex Morton, a psychiatric pharmacologist at the Medical University of South Carolina. By 14, Morgan Major was regularly using her favorite drug, LSD, along with an array of other controlled substances to self-medicate untreated psychiatric disorders and help her escape some of those disturbing feelings. On May 2nd, 2004, the day of Kinney's abduction, Morgan Major said she took large amounts of LSD, cocaine, and Oxycontin, which may have exacerbated the effects of the LSD. Her ability to make sense of the world would be quite difficult at best, said Morton, adding the hallucinogenic effects of LSD can last from 9 to 18 hours. Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have to read
Morgan,
the rest because the rest is just more
right.
talking about the drugs. So, okay, so let's take a look at this. First off, this is all operating under the caveat that this isn't just an elaborate disguise by Thidrin, which, quite frankly, why would you RP as this guy? Holy fuck. And a lot of people have talked about how Thidrin's been very public about this, and he has, but we'll get to that in a moment. So basically, assuming this is all true, Thidrin lived in a house with a mother who didn't abort a little girl who she should have aborted, according to doctors, a father who robbed banks to sustain his coke habit, a sister who was burning his eyes and doing drugs at a very young age, who grew up to be a murderer, nonetheless, which had no parental supervision whatsoever, aka the mother, whenever the child would disobey, would just send her away. I mean, that's one way to deal with shit. Just go away. Fuck it. I need to watch The Price is Right. So this is where Thidrin's comes from. Now, that's some good genes he's got there, I have to say. But the second interesting part of this is that Thidrin's been very public. He's been very public of where he comes from, his family, and many people would immediately or be very quick to point out that he is certainly not guilty of his sister's crime, and he isn't. He isn't guilty of his sister's crime. But this paints a very good picture of where this guy comes from. It also paints an interesting picture as to why he's a failure in life, which people would go immediately and say, oh, it's because of his upbringing. No, it's actually on him, not on anything else. This explains it. This absolutely has a contribution to it, but Thidrin is a failure at the end by choice. It also explains why he has these liberal views that we've discussed multiple times. It shows why Thidrin engages in very, very liberal mentalities. In fact, in the Grapevine, one would even, according to the Grapevine, this is hearsay, so take this part with a grain of salt, but Thidrin allegedly even worked with the harassment patrol back in the day. The Gamergate guys.
That's alleged? I'm pretty sure he's been open about that.
Oh,
he doesn't.
Holy shit.
He's tried to hide this more so that he's tried to harassment patrol.
And he's been open as fuck about this. So all this shows that Thidrin comes from a family that's shit. If you believe in the gene theory, he's pretty much predisposed to be shit. So with this hard start, what choices did Thidrin make to make his life better, to get out of this situation? What did Thidrin do? Kelly, I believe you have a clip for us. Give me the clip before we
do you want the first or second one?
The first one. It's from the same
Okay, let me
stream,
get
but the
that
first
part.
one.
All right, let me get that in a second. This one, yeah.
So Thidrin's been very open about this. Me personally, if I come from this kind of a broken home, I'd be closed off about it. I wouldn't be telling people. But it's called hiding in plain sight. When you hide in plain sight, you use it specifically so that people can't use it against you, despite the fact it's a good argument. Look, this guy comes from a broken home, surrounded by degeneracy, drugs, and overall lack of parental supervision. This is why this guy is a piece of shit. Okay? These are the reasoning. He's open about it so that nobody can use it against him. But there's something else he's been open with. And Kelly is going to send it to me on the Hangout.
Yep, give me 1 second.
And no, Lucifer, I don't come from Taco Land. I do
While,
engage in taco
while
eating
we're
from
waiting,
time to time.
do you want me to point out that one friend of Hit Thidrin, a moderator for Burgers and Fries, Hagar, was in the chat trying to say that we're just saying this because, John Kelly's just butthurt.
Well, let's get a nice recording of that. Let's show that on stream right now.
Yeah.
Let's just. There you go. So this Hagar.
The one with the weird smiley face, yeah.
So yeah. So it seems he's white knighting, and there's also another guy who's been white knighting for a bit, which is Mr. Anon Moose. And the second we started talking about Thidrin, these guys jumped in. So
Oh yeah, because basically when you're in Thidrin's little world, he'll basically play his southern charms on you, and he'll basically tell you all these ideals like, you should stand for free speech and all this other
but
stuff.
he does bring up a
He's
good
guy.
point. He says that you're ass mad, Kelly, and maybe you are ass mad. Maybe you are ass mad, and maybe you have reason to. We're gonna go into why you are probably ass mad, and here's the best part. Here's the most interesting thing. They can claim that you're ass mad, but I'll remind him, and I want him to tell his little goonie this. What about me? You can't make that claim against me, can you? I'm just kicking Thidrin's teeth in every chance I get. When I'm bored, mostly. So, now that we got that out of the way, and you have the video because I really want to show this, is I want people to understand what Thidrin's life choices have been.
Getting the video, it's
You sent it
Okay,
to me
got
via
it.
DMs. You can search, yeah.
just give me 1 second there. Okay, got it.
I've been decreed as also being ass mad, just for the stream's knowledge.
Oh, okay. Well, I heard a rumor that mad means crazy, not angry. So you should probably watch your tone there and try to use the appropriate word. Just say it.
Now, I hate the source because this is a Netscape video. Let's listen to it.
Well, the word public has a very interesting meaning. So,
Oh boy.
no,
Let's-
here's
no,
the,
no,
here's
actually,
the
he's
fact of
gonna-
the matter.
Actually, this ought to be good. I want to
The
see
word
it.
public has a
Yeah,
very
same here.
interesting meaning. So, your court records, all public. If I knew one of your real names, I could.
You already do, and you already will be able to find out that I am a felon.
Yeah, but I'm not going to.
Wait,
But the fact of the matter is,
what?
the
So you just heard Thidrin saying that he is a felon. Kelly, what is the timestamp for when he talks about his crime?
Let me get that again. Let me get that 1 second.
Hagar has demonstrated that I am also ass man, which he is correct. I am an ass man, because I'm kicking Thidrin's teeth in every chance I get. Well, I've also kicked Sargon's teeth in every chance I've gotten. I must be mad at him. In fact, every time you expose a fraud, it's just because you're mad. Hashtag.
Well, my question is,
Puck logic,
so what
baby.
if someone's mad? So what if someone's mad? That's my question. Like, what does it matter? Like, nobody cares about that.
And I
I'm
like
pretty
how
sure-
I like how
I'm
one of the
pretty
cocks
sure-
points out that we're just rolling around like a retard. Yet the second that they found out this stream was happening, they gave in to watch what the fuck's being said because they are afraid as fuck.
It's because they're afraid that one of the most prominent background leaders of Gamergate is going to be exposed as being this
So
terrible,
they're goobers.
terrible,
Is that
disgrace of a
is that what we're going with? They're goobers.
They are permanently stuck in Gamergate mode. That's the point of Burgers and Fries IRC. It's to constantly bitch about Gamergate and never move on to anything else. Like, I don't like.
Well, wait a
to
minute.
be fair-
According to former DDM member and Thidrin friend Koro, isn't that virtual signaling?
No, it's just the truth, man. They're stuck in Gamergate land. They will never ever get out of there.
Wait, let's play the clip.
I have no public reputation. Remember, I'm a felon. I'm already a second-class citizen.
Okay, was it an okay felony, or did you like diddle a million kids? Wait, don't
No.
answer that.
You ever
How
watched
do
the
you
movie
know
Catch
about
Me If You
diddling a
Can?
million kids? That'd be.
There was that.
I watched the gay porn version of that. Is it anything like that?
No.
It is important to point out that while it was not the gay version of Catch Me If You Can, Thidrin is an avid ERP dude who likes to, in his own words, watch. So, can you tell the people about the movie Catch Me If You Can and what felony Thidrin is alleging to have committed?
Oh, Catch Me If You Can is a movie about this guy who the name escapes me. It doesn't matter. It's about this kid who basically goes on to commit bank fraud and impersonation and use rhetoric to lie and deceive people to stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars of cash.
Time
In the movie-
out. Because you made a mistake in the stream. You said that Thidrin can come on whenever he likes, and they're talking about if you had the balls to say it to my face, little nigga. When we finish with the segments, Thidrin at the end could come on, but I'll also remind the chat and Hager that I have challenged Thidrin to come on my channel, and he stated that he will not come on my channel because he doesn't want to give me views and doesn't want to give me popularity. So
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So if Thidrin steps in and has the balls to do it, as Hagar has completely pointed out, he'd be a hypocrite. So please go again to talking about the Catch Me If You Can shit.
Okay, Catch Me If You Can is a movie about this guy who's living in like I forget, it was 30s or 60s actually. This kid who basically has this knack for impersonating people and also for deceiving people and forging things and using rhetoric. In the movie, he gets thousands of dollars of cash. He bangs every girl. He basically outsmarts this hard-end FBI guy up until towards the very end of the movie. And Thidrin's saying that what his activity was basically MO, which was basically forgery. He's openly admitting to forging checks, cashing them, and getting cash for it. Like deceiving the public with lies, which he's also used for himself throughout Gamergate, and getting money for it. But here's the thing. Unlike that kid in the movie, Thidrin's a terrible liar. You could easily point to all his bullshit and out him for it. He's only been.
But again, let's take the man at his word. Let's take the man. Because again, this could all be an elaborate troll, and he could just be RPing at this dude. This is the best he comes up with. A criminal with a fucking murderer as a sister. Now, I like how he also points out that he's a second-class citizen. He doesn't have proper representation. You don't deserve proper representation, motherfucker. I mean, holy shit, what have you ever done with your life? Now, I have heard through the grapevine that Thidrin finally has a job. Okay? He's practiced really hard asking people if they want fries with that. Okay? So now let's move on. So we kind of have a good picture of who Thidrin is. Is there anything else you would like to point? Because we have to move on a little bit.
Oh, wait a minute. He did have a job. He mentioned this several times, and I'm pretty sure you can just look for this on Google, but he's also been a TF2 trader. Team Fortress 2. That's the game that Valve has to sell hats.
Hey, somebody's got to sell those hats. I mean, that's honest work if I ever heard it. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. So we now know that the leader of DDM is this piece of crock shit that for some reason people listen to. Why would people listen to this guy's outlook when his life has been a mess? I mean, he's more of a mess than Jeb Bush, okay? More of a mess than Jeb Bush. But people listen to him, and he has this little group called DDM. And as I exposed in the final deletion, it seems that this group is connected with another group called the Green Grapers Podcast. Now, the Green Grapers Podcast is known for just being a bunch of wannabe trolls. Hi, Max. How's your account doing? Giving out your fucking password to people. That's rich as fuck, man. And then claiming you were hacked. Fucking script kitty. With a group of that's called Green Grapers Podcast. Now, the group Green Grapers Podcast is also an avid group defending the Sargon, defending that Sargonomics. Okay. It seems that these two groups have an interesting little link, and I know we're glossing over two things, but let's get straight to this one instead. So, how about we start showing people a couple of things, like the links between GGP and DDM, and we can talk about what these two groups are all about. What do you say, Kelly?
Do you want to start with the fact that? Do you want to start with what was revealed recently about, the trustworthiness of people that aren't trolling you, or the lack thereof? Do you want to start with
we'll leave that for the end because that's kind of a footnote more than anything else. We're going to skip him and the other degenerate for now, and we're going to go straight to the pictures, let's say.
Oh, the Discord they share.
Yeah, the Discord.
The one that people didn't tell me, like the one that they didn't tell me about, that GGP and DDM were converging in that section.
Well, there's no connection between those two groups, John. You're seeing it. It's all in your mind.
No, really? There's no connection? Well, let me DM you an image. Let me link you an image. Hold on a second. Like, they can pretend that, they want that there's no connection, but, like, really, they're joined at the hip at this point. I mean, they're doing everything they can to hide the fact that these two groups are basically working together because, again, what does Thitron do? He plays in the world of rhetoric. And the reason he does this to get as many
affiliations. He accused me of using rhetoric against him, so I'm technically better at it than him since I beat him so convincingly.
All right.
So I guess I play in the world of rhetoric too, according to Thidron of Akkad.
I think this image will solidify the point nicely. Next defense they'll have once the connection's exposed is, it's just us friends shit posting. Well, do you really call something like this shit posting? Let me repost that.
Yes, John, you clearly don't know what shit posting is because you have no sense of humor. Duh.
Oh, Hagar, if you have accusations about my lack of trustworthiness, later later you can come on stream and tell them right to my face instead of being a cowardly little bitch and hiding in your IRC channel.
Anyway, don't let the chat distract you because they're also here specifically to try to derail and to try to distract because they're fucking scared shitless, mate. Okay.
No, I don't think they're scared shitless. I just think they have no lives. It's really nihilistic.
Okay, so what am I looking at here, John? There's a main chat. There's Varric, DDM and GGP member. There's Xenomancer, aka Craig, and then there's Templar. There's an official DDM Discord. It's the only thing that works on this network I'm on. And you have what am I looking at here?
You're basically looking at Craig and Varic passing around a little recording that happened that, certain people assured me wouldn't be spread out. But then the moment they found it convenient to do so, they decided to do that.
Okay, so this is these people interacting. Like, we've already shown a lot of connections in the deletion of goons. But here they are, these people interacting together again. Okay.
Right in the same group. And they're using that connection to facilitate defamation.
What kind of defamation?
Blackmail. Like, they'll claim that, it's not the legal definition of blackmail, but no. You basically decide to hold leverage over me because you basically got me in a moment where I was in... like, I spent hours of the night arguing with people, and, I had an emotional breakdown.
That's pretty gay, though.
It is pretty gay, I admit. Like, it's a failing of mine. I can only be so perfect only so much of the time. But they decided to keep that thing and use as leverage against me. And they threatened to release it every now and then, every little reminder. And then they decide, hey, you know what? Now that basically, now that John Kelly, quote unquote, hacked this guy's accounts, let's just release it on him. Let's go ahead and spread this recording that they keep on saying that, that they keep on, that I never gave him permission to release. I never gave him permission to record me. They keep saying that, oh, well, 8 minutes into the recording, he says, I don't care. But that's a declaration. That's not affirmative consent to basically spread that shit. And the other piece of thing there, and the other thing about that is, can you really ask for permission to not fight somebody when you've already been punched in the face and your nose is bleeding? Like, it's ridiculous, utterly. And no, I didn't. I never did.
Okay.
They're also showing
So-
this DM around where I'm talking with hypothetical conditions, but I never gave explicit permission, and they told me they wouldn't release it.
Yeah, but the whole point of it, regardless of permission or not, they're using it as blackmail to get you to go away. That was the whole point.
Yeah, they used it as a silencing tactic. And
I
here's
mean, we
Hagar
showed in
defending
the
them.
final deletion of Goons.
Hagar is defending blackmail. Hagar
we will
works.
calm down. We will don't let them rattle you because that's why they're here. They're scared shitless. Okay, Thidrin's probably watching too. Well, as we showed in the final deletion, these people wanted to get rid of you. One of the reasons was Thidrin was ass hurt at you, and another one of the reasons is that you were a little bit too effective, and you know that shills don't like that. Now, what's interesting to me is that these are all, when it comes from an internet perspective, something awful goon tactics. Okay, there's something awful goon tactics. These people are using these goon tactics in order to get rid of their opposition, to get rid of their enemies. And it's not speculation at this point. We've shown the evidence in this stream and the final deletion of Goons, which I will link, as I said. So, you know, it's very strange to me how these people continue to make these claims and continue to act like they didn't do nothing and they're good boys. I mean, it's also been revealed that it was the Grapes who doxed you. I mean, at the very least, they were involved. Because they were the ones spreading it around. They were the ones. Heck, they were stupid enough, and I'm talking to Grey Knight specifically. You might have deleted the tweet, but it's not going to save you. They were dumb enough to look around Facebook people, right? They couldn't get my Facebook. They couldn't get any info on me. Because remember, DDM are terrible diggers, okay? That community are terrible at digging. So what they did is that they looked for people who I had friends in common with. And they found pictures of me. And they posted a couple of them, right? Which is fine, no problem. It's public information, doesn't matter. I'm a good-looking cat anyway. They found those pictures. And then Grey Knight started posting pictures at me that weren't in the thread, revealing that it was them. That's how dumb these people are. But I'm very interested right now in just showing a one Sarge, because this is a guy I really want to talk a little bit about, because I gave him quite a extensive amount of time to prove his accusations. I want you to send me an archive that you sent me earlier about a certain set of accusations that Sarge has made. And then we're going to talk about Sarge. We're going to talk about who's a GGP member. We're going to talk about him, and we're going to talk about what these guys have been doing and what angle they've been playing, because somebody doxed them. I don't know who the fuck it was, to be 100% honest.
That sounds terrible and unfortunate.
It does, but I don't know who it was. I don't give a shit, because if you guys know how I operate, I don't do the whole doxing thing.
Well, they're blackmailers.
Oh, yeah. I take you out on stream live. It's what I do. And JJ was destroyed and showed to be a literal shill. Literal fucking shill. You guys can look up those threads in BAF. I'm not going to talk too much about them. And they were ass hurt. And they immediately assumed it was the evil John Kelly, who was gone for a month, and me. Because if it's John Kelly, it has to be me. And they did everything in their power. And we're going to be showing some interesting stuff in a moment. Everything in their power to prove that. And it's hilarious to me. So send me that archive. Because I want to show some stuff when it comes to this. Let me know when you sent it.
I sent you 2 of them. Let me see. I think there might be a couple more.
So this is the type, and this is goon behavior. If you guys aren't familiar with something off of Goons, you should be. Okay? This is goon behavior. Look what this guy does. This guy decides to tag my girlfriend in, right? And say, I would recommend you tell your boyfriend to stop doxing people. He and his buddies already did so to my girlfriend. So this is a last-ditch attempt. This is a last assumption that my girlfriend, first off, that actually did the dox. He doesn't show evidence, of course. Evidence. We're going to show the type of evidence he shows, and we're going to use it against him pretty badly in a moment. And he tries to get my girlfriend involved. This in essence is a way to try to get people to go away from the internet. It's not blackmail or extortion, but it's pretty fucking close. Here's the evidence that Detective Sarge Pilgrim shows. Okay? Let's see if I can. I don't think I can open it. I think I can open it. Well, shit. Well, we'll have to get the actual.
Use the second one.
Yeah, you can't see the pictures that easily. Like you can see them, it's there, but let me. Okay, you sent me another one. Let's check that one. Yeah, it's a tweet save. Perfect. Let's use the tweet save instead.
Kind of reminds me about how Hagar's constantly bitching about Drybones not being able to finish Start Button when Hagar went and did accomplish Jack Jilly Squat, but Tweet Save and Mixtape have been excellent websites that have actually been successful.
So here's the docs, right? And it's all the info is blacked out. And what they circle is they show that in the docs, where is it? Pudgy Feminist Family. Sargi, okay, double G Sargi, right? And he says, well, Variloh, you use that language. Well, first off, I don't use double G, I just use one. Okay, this is his evidence. It must be Variloh because in the fucking bath thread, they say Sargi. Okay, they say fucking Sargi. Well, I am the only person in this planet who uses that, so it must be Variloh. That's not easily falsified. It's not easy to incriminate people with that. No. Clearly this is your evidence. Okay? Now, it's great. I mean, and also posting a link to one of his own streams. Okay? So, his evidence is that a stream where they're making fun of me, that quite frankly I haven't even watched. I heard about the Variloh drinking game, but I haven't watched it. I was just told it was really cringy and it wasn't worth watching. That must be evidence that was Variloh who did the docs. Now, I've given him over a month to prove his claims. He hasn't proven his claims. So, at this point, it's absolutely fair for me to say that Sarge is full of shit. DDM core member associated with, GGP core member, GGP being BFFs with DDM. Okay? So,
well, it's blatantly obvious at this point. Like, when you just take a look at these people's tweets on Twitter and who they're promoting and who they're helping out and who they come in to defend when it comes to an argument, you could tell that they're all in with each other. It's like, it's not a case of where, like, I like how they try to feign that they're not, and they try to pretend that they're not helping each other. We've exposed the Discord. We've shown them to be in DDM. We're seeing them right now in the chat. I mean, it's blatantly obvious that what they're doing, though. There's more connections that we haven't revealed yet. That's the best part.
Some we're going to save for next time because, we need to have topics. But here's another interesting thing. You sent me Sarge talking about you. We've already established that the Sarge guy likes to make accusations without evidence. Here's what else he likes to do. He likes to show and say, well, John Kelly is clearly responsible for the docs because reasons, and here he is talking behind my girlfriend's back, behind the fact that you've said these things publicly, despite the fact that she supported him so much support from JJ. Well, JJ is a crock of shit and deserves everything that comes to her. Sarge. I just want to point that out there. Now, here's the best part. Who do you think this DM is from? Because he blacks out the recipient. He blacks the person out. Because clearly, there's a person who's talking to you. You think you're in a private environment talking about things, in a one-on-one with someone who can be trusted with this information. Guess who this person is. I'm going to give the chat about 30 seconds to guess who this person is. Okay, let's give it a moment. Because we have DDM bitching incessantly. Okay, so it seems the chat is engaged.
What's funny is they're using a tactic that Thidrin condemns, which is call the accusations a conspiracy theory. I like how Thidrin's correct, except when it's inconvenient for him.
Oh, all hail Lord Thidrin, right? Okay, so let's reveal now, because no one's really guessing the correct guess. let's reveal who the fuck actually sent this information. Okay, this is the person. This is the fucking legit dude. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the person who the conversation was had with, Johnny Fox. Now, Johnny Fox is a very interesting specimen to me. He's a very interesting specimen because here he is giving Sarge info on John Kelly and private conversations just to help Sarge push an agenda. Okay, he's trying to help Sarge push an agenda that John Kelly is responsible, and somehow I am also responsible. And we both teamed up to dox JJ Talks. I mean, putting all that public information that was publicly available out there, condemned, must condemn. But here you have
both
Fox.
friends. Wild Goose.
Now, isn't Johnny Fox consistently running around the GGP and running around DDM?
Yes. Yes, he is.
So, let's show the world what these people, because again, these are goon tactics. This is how these people operate. Now, this has to be one of my favorite pieces of evidence. Johnny Fox, when you disappeared, I accidentally sent him my article on Sargon, I believe it was, and he started talking to me. Okay, now let's go back and let's show, just so people know when this conversation started. And we're going to read through these DMs, okay? Now, Johnny Fox has leaked DMs over and over and over again, okay? So he does not have the right to privacy, okay? Just by the fact that he leaked the DM that we just showed removes his ability to have a right to privacy. So let's take a look at what these people engage with. We now know that Fox is working with Sarge, okay? He does not have Kelly's interest in any way, shape, or form. He has Sarge's interest. Let's see what this guy sends me. Oh, he says all this other stuff. I'll just let it there. You can pause it and read it. Doesn't matter. It's just minutia. It doesn't matter to you. Okay, so he says, where's John Kelly? July the 2nd. John, when were you doxxed?
I believe it was. I believe the thread hit on like the 3rd or something like that.
Okay. But
Of
you were
July.
made aware of it the night before, so July 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't get a hold of him. I'm like, I don't know where you are, because that's the time that you didn't even give me a motherfucking heads up. You just fucking up and left. And I was like, I heard there's some drama going around. I didn't know what was going on at the time. I was asleep, and I was not contacted since. It's a complicated subject. It's about him and Sargon, and I'm trying to keep it really quiet and discreet. So I'm assuming whatever happened last night has to do with Sargon. And he says, yes. Sargon is making a big move. He might be affected by it. It's like, seems I got under Sargon's skin, Keck. So Sargon's making a move, and I'm not affected. Sad. He said, awful, isn't it? Tell John I need to talk to him ASAP about this, though. He's been about to get ass-chucked hard by the Sargon fanboys. Contrary to popular belief, I don't have some hotline to John. If he follows you, DM him, as he's Mia for Me Too. All right, I already DM'd him. If you talk to him, just let him know that I'm looking for him. And I'm saying, gotcha, though showing me whatever you got could be even more fun. And he's like, well, Sargon wants to basically create a narrative on John, saying that the reason he tried to throw him under the bus is because he wanted to steal his fame and basically do what Keemstar is getting done to him right now. He's all ass mad because John hit a nerve with some of his audience. Why is John getting credit for my article? Lol, that's great. Basically, keep in mind at this point, I don't believe anything coming out of Johnny Fox's mouth. I made a video showing that Johnny Fox is a fucking liar on this very channel. So these guys really think I must be stupid helping them out here. But okay. Because John Kelly is the devil, remember? I've been digging and found that basically a lot of people that were big GG supporters are now SJWs from hell. Case in point, Boogie2988. Well, that's some great detective work there. But I was the one who divided his audience, lol. And he says, Sargon has basically made people think John Kelly, Variloh, same guy, lol. That's nonsense, as we have shown up on stream simultaneously. Nah, they just see y'all as a tag team, like the Road Warriors. This motherfucker, warning, is really obsessed with fucking wrestling. Even if we were, taking Kelly down does nothing to me. If anything, it makes me the HBK of the Rockers. Ha! Hitting a chord, hitting him with his own wrestling references. I love it. Sargi is desperate. do you have proof of this? And he says, can't give my sources, but trust me. Trust a liar. Sargy boy. Now, stop here. You see this phrase right here? Sargy boy? Now, if I remember correctly, wasn't that the evidence that Sarge used, stating that that is definitive proof I made the fucking thread?
Yeah, that is pretty funny. He
So
did
doesn't
mention
that pose Fox, who has been blackmailed, according to them, by this chick showing him, begging to her via the internet to have all that sex, okay? Basically hitting on her over the internet. Okay, they had that video floating around. It was on Batman's channel or Max's channel, one of those fuckers' channels, where they fucking beat his head into the fucking sand. So he has a beef with a JJ Talks. He uses the term Sargy. By Scott Pilgrim, aka Sarge Pilgrim's logic, it must have been him.
Yeah.
So it's very strange to me. Very strange to me. But let's keep reading because it gets much better. I mean, he's getting Sargy boy ain't happy. He's been getting shit for a while, and people are divided on him, especially after TF versus Sargon debate. Thunderfoot. Oh, that just put a nail right on his asshole. I mean, he's getting really flamed for that disaster of a straight autism. So he needs a scapegoat to get the heat off that debate. Off of him. Who better than Bad Panda? My main concern is John is that Sargon's fans are psychotic about him. There's no telling what they'll do, and what if Sargon says, kill him, he's a meanie. You will obviously understand that without citations, this isn't very believable, right? And he says, here's a better question. Why would I make up a grandiose story to tell John Kelly his life is in danger just to troll him? If I wanted to troll, I'd just say something gay as fuck, and he'd get all triggered. Well, the reason is because John Kelly disappeared here, and that was not part of the agenda. They didn't want him to disappear that quickly. They needed to hit him. They needed to embarrass him. They needed to destroy any amount, as Cora put it. They needed to remove his influence. So they needed to find this motherfucker. Let's keep going. Same reason you lied to get me on a stream and attempt to dunk me would be my answer. Not everything is a conspiracy, brah. It's just a conspiracy, brah. Doesn't it remind you of the chat right now with Thidrin's goons claiming conspiracy?
Yeah. Like, I don't even get why they're thinking that, you know.
It's not everything's a conspiracy, brah. Also, my conversation with Kelly won't be live or recorded in any way or fashion. I like how that Freudian slip, that it just slips, that it's going to be recorded in live. Like, I haven't even talked about that. This motherfucker immediately slips. And it says, I agree not everything's a conspiracy, but it has happened before, so it shows precedence. I don't control who Kelly talks to, and still seems to be missing in action. I just find it odd. If you're looking for Kelly's well-being, you would show as many people in his confidence as possible your evidence to ensure he gets it ASAP. I understand where you're coming from, but the only person I can give the details to is him. I don't want a wildfire out of this. Convenient. Well, I wish you luck finding him. Good job with the Sargon fight. Nailed him to a cross. This is 5 days later. He now contacts me. Bad. With that dunk from hell you pulled. Good job. Now all can see I was right. I gotta admit, you did completely nail him dead to rights. He's literally had nothing to do except resort to ad hominem. You wrecked his ass bad. I thought the GGP were your enemies. And he says, kayfabe. For the most part. Ah, so your fraud with JJ was kayfabe. Referring to the previous, he says, well, we did have a few throwdowns, as referring to the GGP, that were legit, but most of it was staged to some extent. One side would pick a fight, basically to have a match on stream. After the shows, though, we always just hung out and drank. That one was a mix. Some of it was me and Leo's provocation. Leo is Leo Tiberius, known Johnny Fox BFF, and DDM, as we showed in the previous stream, DDM regular. Okay? That's the guy who said that he was going to try to get on my stream just so he could show gay porn, just to have my YouTube account taken down. So if this YouTube disappears after this stream, you know where to point the finger, because TDM has a precedence of attempting to do this kind of shit. That one was a mix of some of it was legit. To be honest, I think JJ Talks is a worthless sack of shit that should be nuked from orbit on a personal and professional level, as she is a conniving cunt. But I can't say that my side was particularly angry with her. We just wanted to trigger the shit out of her, so we picked a lot of fights with GGP. Sarge, you seem to be missing a lot of evidence. Here's your doxer according to your logic. He clearly doesn't like JJ Talks. Let me elaborate. I mean, he likes her enough to work with the GGP. Let me elaborate. Basically, what I mean by kayfabe is me and a few other people were the quote-unquote bookers. We picked people. A booker in wrestling is the person who decides who wins or loses the match. We picked people, picked a fight, and made a show out of it, making people think it was legit, even though the Johnny Fox show versus GGP was mostly worked and staged. To some extent, the others were basically, hey, you fucking suck, come on stream, you prick, to get some lulz. John Kelly was involved in a lot of backstage planning. He was amazing booker, holy shit.
What?
So he was.
This is news to me.
He was
I've
faking
been on
it.
stream.
Wait. So he was faking it too, according to you. John Kelly and me had a legit heat in the beginning. Heat is a wrestling term to refer to disagreement or dislike. That was real. Later down the road, me and him made amends, and he helped me with a lot of dunk shows like Netscape and others. Him versus Sargon was literally an accident. That was just something that happened. I had no plans on that one. No idea who he was. Now that I'm out of GG, was it for the views? Kinda, sorta. That was the idea, to draw a house. But sometimes I wanted to make a show. I wanted to make a show people will legit enjoy. And because it was fun pissing people off. And then I refer to him, so I was right about you. The things I said in that stream that's on this channel where I showed Johnny Fox. And by Fox, I mean F-A-U-X. Well, you got me. But I couldn't let the cat out of the bag until it was out of GG. And the shows were done and over with. I did fool a lot of people, though. And then he links me some stuff. So here we have a guy who is coming to me to try to get to John Kelly, saying that Sargon is behind the docs of John Kelly. This is the same guy who shares information with the Green Grapus podcast in order to push their fucked up narrative, okay? This is the same guy who has had a feud with JJ Talks and uses the term Sargy, yet Sarge isn't accusing him of the docs. This is the same guy who admits that his only interest with GG was making cash. And this guy frequents DDM.
Should we also bring up the fact that he and Bacon have been helping each other out and actively working together?
Well, what do you mean by that, Kelly?
I mean, just look at their Twitter profiles. You can see them tweeting back and forth, posting
Speaking
each
of
other's
Bacon,
videos.
there was this thing that you've incessantly brought to me on my DMs. Let's share it now when it comes to Bacon.
Okay. I think that's a good idea. Like, also, it's funny that Hagar played dumb when he said you're attacking people for no reason when he knew full well what I'm talking about here.
No, I'm not paying attention to the chat. They're intentionally trying to distract.
Oh, Hagar's at work, which is why when I mentioned his name in the chat, he immediately responded.
Okay, so let's show people the Bacon thing.
All right, hold on 1 second. Dang, I'm saying that a lot. All right, I got this. There you go.
So here's a YouTube video that the second I show it, people will go to that channel and find it, just so you know. But here we go. Here's a video, and it shows Max Sand's account. In incognito, it shows a conversation with Bacon. And the conversation reads as follows. And I know what it reads because you've forced me to see it over and over and over again. So, oh geez, Monday Matt wants to kill himself. Do not trust Philosopher Demented, and be careful who you talk to. Tell your friends that they might be recorded by someone who pretends to be someone on your side. Don't trust members that are not trolling Variloh. Personally, not going at him because it was funnier watching him all alone, not getting any attention, and try to bait others and not get anywhere. So this is the same Bacon who went into, after the deletion of Goons, came at me very unhappy. If you can do a tweet search of that real quick, John Kelly. Very unhappy, saying that, why did I include him? I should have specified that I did nothing against you and I'm fine with you, bro. I gave you that link to that video, that Sargon stream where he says he doesn't fucking, that he dropped out of college, bro, despite other people sending that thing to you, bro. This is a guy, DDM member, core DDM member, talking to apparently Max Sand's account, GGP member, saying to not trust anybody who isn't trolling Variloh because they might be recorded. So here you have a DDM member looking out for the GGP. Interesting, isn't it? And he doesn't he doesn't do it because he was fine with allowing me to not get any attention. Ha ha ha, I'm all alone. Nobody cares about Variloh. That's great. This is the same guy who bitched and moaned that he has sent me stuff in the past. So Bacon is a two-faced piece of shit, but that seems to be, in my opinion, a common theme when it comes to the DDM.
Yep.
So
It's
go ahead.
it's kind of like I was part of that little circle for a while, but the moment that they didn't want me around, but the moment that the moment that they decided that I was acting too much against the grain, I wasn't falling in line with what Thidrin or the other degenerates there had to say. They had to throw me out. Like, that was it. Like, so really when you get down to it, it's kind of like they just burned any kind of bridge with me over nonsense. That's what it comes down to.
Hager's
Also,
trying to claim
by the way,
Hager's trying to claim that the DMs are fake. Him and Max Sand, didn't they follow each other? Go ahead.
Yes, they did follow each other.
So Max
Also,
Sand's
another
account
thing-
was also hacked. Max confirmed this by creating a thread on GG Revolt. This video, whoever the hacker was, apparently sent it to you and shows the Max Sand DDM. It must have been the same person who created the thread. And here's a thread with Bacon's comments in it. Okay? What they're trying to do, however, is they're trying to get you to show on stream Max Sand's account because they assume it was you who hacked, quote unquote, hacked, despite the fact that Max Sand gives his password away.
How
to
could I
prove
have
that you
hacked
are
Max?
a hacker. Because, John, you've committed actual crimes. Question, has the FBI knocked on your door yet?
Jeez, like almost just it's Saturday, so I guess they're having an off day today.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's actually Friday.
Oh, really?
Anyway, so this is great. DDM, piece of shit, confirmed.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting. I think we should leave the DDM. We did have something else we wanted to show about a certain degenerate and his homosexual relationship with another degenerate who's part of DDM. But I think we'll save that one. We'll save that one for a while.
Right. Also, there's one more point I want to make. There's a certain mentality that all screenshots and all video evidence are fake because you can fake them. That's horseshit. Just because something can be fake doesn't mean it is. And
By
if
the
you're
way,
gonna
I don't
claim
know
hoax,
why open DMs matters because Bacon's the guy who's DMing in this picture. It's not Max. It's DM. It's Bacon who's talking. I mean, is Hager retarded?
Yes, he is. I can confirm that. I've had many discussions with him, and he has no experience in tech. He lies about what he works for, and I proved it here because he said he was working, but as soon as I mention his name, he pops up to defend himself because he's that butthurt.
Okay.
Also, when you get down to it, another thing I'd like to point out is you're going to claim that a screenshot or a video of, like, footage that's on a screen or something like that is a hoax. That's a positive claim. You need evidence to back that up. You can't just claim hoax, this guy's a liar.
I think
and
a good
expect
way
win by
to
that.
show this would be for Bacon to show his conversations with Max Sand.
That's an excellent idea. I think that would be the easiest way for Bacon to exonerate
Of
himself.
course, unless he deleted the conversation.
Yeah.
Sad.
Also, yeah. There's one last thing I want to clarify. I didn't say Bacon was retarded. I said Hagar was retarded.
No, Bacon's just a backstabbing piece of shit. And we have more on him. We
Exactly.
got some interesting recordings, but I think the point's been set across. And it's 2:40. I'm starving and have to cook. We had a fifth topic, which was the outright. But I think we can save that for later. When we have a chance.
All
We
right.
can talk about the outright and Blair fucking white and the tranny acceptance movement that's going around in the alt-right. What's the alternative to the right, John?
Left.
Okay, just wanted to end on that note. So thank you, everybody, for coming to the Super Show. We're going to be dividing this into the different segments, so that's going to be a lot of fucking fun. I'm just fucking tired, can't be bothered, and I really need a nap after once again showing Sargon to be a liar. And guys, I'm not working on the Sargon thing anymore. Why don't 3 or 4 of you guys get together, look up all his assets, show that the motherfucker didn't spend a penny on assets, and then start asking him where he spent the money. That would be fucking great. That would be fucking fantastic. It might be virtual signaling, according to Koro, who doesn't know what that means, but still, that's pretty cool. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. Oh, wait. I forgot. We were supposed to give Hagar a 2 hour and 40 stream, to be exact. We were supposed to give Hagar the ability to step on stream now because he wanted to challenge the John Kelly. So
He did.
fuck it. You have your open invitation right now, Hagar. Give me a DM or something. I can send you the link to the Hangout.
I mean, he wouldn't pull an Anthony, would he? Like challenge people to a debate and then back out the last minute.
I think he wants you to debate him on the Twitter or on the chat.
Well, what's the point in that? He's just gonna say,
I don't need to
"LOL, I
challenge
told
John
you."
Kelly. John Kelly proved he's an idiot. So all that tough guy talk about, say it to my face, little nigga. All that tough guy talk seems to have been gone down the drain. As expected.
Well, he keeps on claiming he works in tech, but provides absolutely no evidence. I mean, one time Rami asked him the code, and he couldn't produce anything. Like, this happened. So, I mean, I don't take it at all seriously, to be honest, at this point.
Well, I don't think him knowing how to code or not is really relevant, to be 100% honest. And I'll take him on his word. I'll take him on his word when it comes to that. So,
I don't know. It's just that, in my experience, most people who claim to work in tech and can't show it tend not to work in tech. They tend to be liars.
fair enough. That is pretty accurate. Okay. So, he's not coming on. What else? Oh, he's saying that to provide evidence, he'd have to dox himself.
Aw, that's too bad. I'm
just-
still not going to believe you based on your word alone.
Hey, keep in mind that DDM was stupid enough to. You could have used the same claim against me. You could have used the exact same claim against me, but DDM was stupid enough to not just look and confirm all of my stories, showing a game jam I was in, the video of a game jam I was in, but also in the Beth thread that I just wonder who did that. Not only did they show my thesis for the master's degree that I claimed to do, that I clearly did, but they also linked my LinkedIn, which is, granted, pretty abandoned. But still, they confirmed my story to having a master's in software engineering. So I just have to say, maybe the self-doxing isn't that bad. I mean, just
I would
shows your
also
business
recommend
card.
people. I mean, like if I wouldn't wish this upon Hagar, but
He's
if
shown
people
others.
were
That
fortunate
reminds me. That's kind of like Thidrin when he's been involved in a lot of shit. It's Anon though. He can't tell you about it. He can claim it though. He can claim it though. He can claim that he's really important because he's been a part of a lot of shit. He just can't tell you what it is. He has been part of the harassment patrol allegedly. Helped them with their narrative to pushing the ethics in gaming, in gaming, and game journalism. So he has done that. So I will applaud the man, and he does done some sick ERP where he likes to watch.
Yeah. Like, what I don't get about these people complaining about my doxing and stuff like that. Why are you
Who's
revealing?
Keith Richardson?
I don't know.
What is he talking about? Getting receipts later.
I don't know. Probably just some shit poster.
Hey, I don't know who Anon is saying that I can't make a game, which is fine. I actually did make a game. You guys saw it. You called it shit. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can say it's a shit game, or I can't make games. But here's what I'll do. Tell Fuzztail and Templar, who are working on their #Unity game, despite the fact that Templar has claimed that that I'm an idiot for working in Unity and it's shit. Tell them that when they're ready to release it, I'll be the first to play it. DDM's very own Fuzztail, the man who pretends to be a woman, and Templar, Thidrin's #1 white knight. Tell them that when they finish their game, then they finally release it, I'll be the first to play it. Okay, so before we go, people are telling me to check DMs. Fine, I'll check DMs. I think the
No,
question...
actually,
Go ahead.
bring up a couple important things. I can. The situation right now is there's this organization called ICANN which handles IPs, website numbers, domain registry, etc. Obama's currently handing off that particular organization to be privatized, and they'll basically put us in a position where they'll basically start to appeal to other authorities in the U.S. government, so that way they can legitimize themselves for certain governmental protections, which means that people like Zoe Quinn and Ian Sarkeesian, if they do appeal to the UN, will have power and control over even more power and control over the internet. So maybe instead of shit posting and acting like a retard, then later call it trolling, you could look at that. And to those of you who are just listening for the fun of it, I recommend looking into it anyway, because that actually is an important issue.
Okay. We were going to bring up Blair White, as I said, and trannies and alt-right and all that other stuff, but I think that should be left for another day at this point, because again, 2 hours 40 minutes. I need to go fucking make some food. I'm hungry. I'm using my day off on this shit, and not even day off, more like my morning off. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I need to go back to building a company, because I'm just that awesome. Anyway. Thank you all for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I don't really have to show that Bacon has open DMs or not because it's irrelevant. He used to follow Max, so it doesn't really discredit the video one way or another.
Okay, here's the thing. You have to show proof of forgery if you're going to claim fake.
Yeah,
you can't make a positive
it's
claim
clear
that
to
it's fake.
me that he fucking said that. It's clear to me that he fucking said that. It's absolutely clear. They're just fishing because they think that either you or me hacked, quote unquote. You can't hack something that you're given the password to.
I don't think it matters what their motive is. It's a case of where it's a stupid claim to assume that evidence is fake.
Well, they know it's true. No, they know it's true. They absolutely know it's true. They're just trying to fish so that they can pin you for committing #actual crimes. I mean, remember, this group was the GGP were actually saying that you committed actual crimes. And then it turns out that Max is a script kiddie who gave out his password like a fucking idiot. So that died down real fucking quick, didn't it? They abandoned that real fucking quick. Anyway, This was fun. Thank you, John Kelly, for joining up. We will be dividing the stream appropriately in the future. So it's pretty cool. It's awesome that the ire of either DDM or the GGP, well, they're the same thing. We don't need to call them separate anymore. You just call them the cucks. It's interesting that the cucks showed up in the chat. Oh, Thidrin's goons. That's certainly something awful, what you just said there. That's something terribly awful. Anyway, this was fun. I'm happy that more people know who Thidrin is, what he's about. And next time you decide to dig for him, next time you decide to work for him, remember, this guy's a degenerate who will sell you off if you're not one of his puppets, comes from a broken fucking home, and is clearly crazy and cannot get a job worth of shit. So, don't work with that fucker. That's all I say. See you later, guys.